I'm Katie Cowan, and this is the Creative Boom Podcast. Well, it's been nearly 2 years and 100 episodes since we launched this show. With 2023 fast approaching, we thought a Christmas special might be in order. One that celebrates how far we've come and pays tribute to the people who helped us get here, but also allows us to look ahead and consider what's next. And what better way to do that than to return to our very first guest? And that's Malcolm Garrett. The esteemed graphic designer and creative director also happens to be one of the co-founders of Design Manchester, an annual festival in our home city and one that holds a very special place on the international design calendar. It's actually where I headed last month to meet Malcolm, but also catch up with some former guests of our show, including Ian Anderson, Anthony Burrill, Sarah Boris, Jane Boyer and Stanley Chow. But we also wanted to speak with other creatives, such as Harris Elliott, Naitemu Nyanjom, Zoe Hitchen, and Mary V. Mullen. It seemed particularly fitting to make our Christmas special during Design Manchester, as this year's theme is about legacy, something that honours the late great Professor David Crowe of the Manchester School of Art, who was one of the champions and supporters of the festival. Held in the Benzie Building of the esteemed art school, the event meant that everyone was reflecting on the legacy of Design Manchester, as well as their own creative journeys, and how that legacy plays into the future. It was an honour to capture some of that reflection for Creative Boom, much of which I'll share now. And to just add a little fun, we asked everyone for their own Christmas memories. A time of year that means something different from one person to the next, of course. But whether good or bad, it was agreed that the festive season brings people together. And I also asked about those New Year resolutions and how they feel about 2023. But first, we begin with Malcolm Garrett. Malcolm!
Katie!
This is wonderful. You are the person that began this whole podcast.
Well, you began it.
Well, I did.
I was just lucky enough to be the first person in front of the microphone.
And I was lucky that you were the first person because you were such a gentleman and you made me feel very kind of relaxed. And
I really enjoyed doing it.
It was fun.
Yeah, it was great.
I've come a long way since then.
And I tell you, I did not realise I was the first person.
Oh, did you not?
No, I thought I was just another in, not
another
in a
big
line,
lineup.
not in that way, but I thought, I was in the sequence of things.
Yes.
And it didn't dawn on me till much later that you were just embarking on a new part of your career.
New project.
Yeah. And until it came up online. Oh, I'm number one. That's great.
So obviously we're at Design Manchester, which you are one of the co-founders.
Yes.
And the whole theme is legacy. So how fitting is this that to look back, I'm interviewing the first person I chatted with?
That's what I thought when
obviously, this was your idea as well, so I have a lot to thank you for.
I'm not sure whose idea it was. Somebody suggested podcast, and I said, "Why don't we get Katie in?
Oh, great!
And interview everybody on the day."
Oh, it's brilliant!
Yeah,
just lock me in a quiet white room.
Yes, yeah, and what a lineup of speakers we've had.
Oh, it's just been so lovely,
fantastic.
Yeah. It's been so nice, and we've been chatting with everybody, and we've been asking them based on that theme. What does legacy mean to you, and how are you looking? Because we are in a period of reflection. I think it happens around this time of year anyway, but it's particularly poignant for you because this year's been quite sad, hasn't it? We've lost a sort of real star in the design world.
Yeah, what can you say about David Crowe? I mean, star is the word, and everybody he met, everybody whose lives he touched, would echo that. I mean, he was. It's hard to find words to describe him because he's elevated, but as a person he was very grounded, and he gave so much space and support and encouragement to everybody he worked with, whether that was a student or whether that was the vice chancellor. He was just a wonderful mediator of information and creativity and resourcefulness, and he had a way of getting things done in a really good way, because he had a really good vision, without anybody ever feeling that they were being told to do something.
Yeah.
But in a way, they sort of were.
It reminds me of someone.
Who might that be? Well, I learned a lot from him.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
he's very special, and also Manchester School of Art is very special to you too.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's a special facility.
Yes.
So many wonderful people have walked through, not necessarily the doors of this building, but in its sense,
Yes.
and it has such a legacy in itself. How do you sort of look back on your time here? And
I often look back on it, and interestingly enough, I was a graphic design student, and the graphic design department when I was here was actually in Piccadilly Gardens.
right,
It's now the Gardens Hotel
oh gosh,
in the corner of Piccadilly Gardens, and I spent my first year there, and my third year, and my second year I was next door in the Chatham Building,
right,
and the Chatham Building was such a soulless building at that time, and so I was really happy to go back to Piccadilly Gardens. I liked being in the community, in the city. And what David managed to do was recognise that on the one hand he had not exactly a sick building, but a building that wasn't really performing in the way it should for its occupants. And so he got an opportunity to build a new building, which we're in today,
wonderful space.
and connect it at every level up to the fourth floor with the building next door. So not only did he build a new building, he gave an older building a new lease of life, and so I recognize that personally, having spent a year in that building. I would now willingly come back as a student to this building, to be in this building, and it competes really well with being in Piccadilly Gardens.
Oh gosh, I bet.
Yeah.
So how are you feeling right now? We're coming up to Christmas. Is it a moment of personal reflection for you? How are you feeling about next year?
If I'm being honest, I mean, just on a personal today level, relieved. I've had so many events over the past 2 to 3 weeks. And this is almost the last, and undoubtedly one of the most important and one of the biggest, and one that I spend a lot of time reaching out to invite the speakers and curating that. And so for the most part, it's gone really well today. We've had a bit of a technical issue with sound. We could have done with you in recording next door. So there's a certain sense of relief that I think we've put on a good event today. And reflection, it is interesting moving into the next year. I actually, believe it or not, I officially reached pensionable age this year.
You have not.
I have.
I don't believe it.
Now, obviously, designers never retire, and so I will never retire. So I'm looking forward to a renewed and reinvigorated relationship with the School of Art. Martin Evans, who opened the show today, with the new director of design, I believe is his title, and new staff here. It's great having John Rooney come from Leeds to join here, and Shelley McNulty, and fabulous staff. Particularly, I'm obviously connected with the graphic design department, but I'm trying to make connections with more departments, and that would be an ambition for me for next year, to have more connections with more of the courses and engage more with all those courses. It's very easy for me and it's very easy to get speakers from the graphic design world, because graphic design lends itself to go, oh, here's a picture of a poster. It sort of works.
It does.
And so, yeah, our challenge, I guess, for next year is to build. Here we are in our 10th year.
I can't believe
10
it.
years. So the challenge is to keep on making it better and broader, and a broader range of participants.
Exciting.
Yeah.
Now, personally, it's Christmas. What do you love about this time of year? Are you a lover of this time of year, or do you have any particular traditions?
I am, to be honest, I'm not. I'm not that way community minded. I kind of like Christmas, you know, there is something about the sense of Christmas, but I'm not a family person. I detest New Year.
Oh gosh, me too.
Yeah, so I'd much rather stay indoors on New Year. The idea of just celebrating the ticking of the clock going from 11:59 to 12 is like there are more important things in life than watching the clock. Christmas is, it's obviously I have family and I have brothers and sisters with children, and Christmas is all about children. I think you'll have noted that I do not have children. I subscribe to that. I'm not going to say that. I sound like like such a miserable humbug.
I haven't got children on purpose.
No, I used to have a slide in my talk, and it was a box of matches that said "Keep away from children," and I always used to show it. I said, "This is my motto: keep away from children." And then, but yet here I am in this school with what are. Isn't it amazing? Isn't it amazing? When you are 18, you look up to somebody who's 21.
Yeah.
And that kind of always goes through your life. And then when you're 21, you sort of think, oh God, I was such a baby back then.
We really were.
3 years ago, I was such a baby. But you still don't ever get anywhere. You're always a baby. And,
yes. It's holding on to that spirit.
It's holding on to that spirit. So yes, so yes, whilst on the one hand, I'm not a big lover of children, I certainly wouldn't want any of my own. I as you know, I do have this kind of fondness for helping people learn, helping people. There isn't a better phrase for it. I was going to say, engage more with the world, encourage and support people in their own endeavours. That's something that I've always liked doing. So people are always asking me, so where are you still teaching here at Manchester? I've never taught at Manchester. I think I would be a terrible teacher, i.e. in taking a class. I'm like to think I'm a pretty good one-to-one mentor. You are. So I like that. I like the one-to-one relationships with people, not the relationship of me being in a room with lots of other people. I don't like that relationship. I like a one-to-one. So I like to be in a room talking to somebody on the microphone.
Just like this.
Just like this.
This is lovely.
This is what I enjoy doing. Yeah.
Favorite Christmas movie?
Oh, favorite Christmas movie. I've never thought of it in that way. I'm a member of BAFTA. And as a member of BAFTA, you get, at this time of year, this is the voting season. And so you get invited to all the screenings for all of the new movies, and you get to see lots of Q&As with the directors and the actors. And I love that. And since last year, every movie that's entered for BAFTA, you get access to online.
Wow.
So I think last year I watched about 200 of the 400 movies in contention.
Good grief.
So my favourite Christmas movie is all the movies I get sent to watch.
I love that. Well, thank you so much, Malcolm.
Thank you, Katie.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas indeed, yes.
And do you want to add anything else before you sort of wrap this up?
No. I'm also much better at
being guided,
answering questions, which is why I'm sort of not a teacher.
Yeah.
Although having said
so
that.
I'll finish it off and then say, and a very happy new year. Looking forward to watching
long may it be 2023.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you.
Thanks, Katie.
Well, thanks, Patrick, for joining me here at Design Manchester, where the theme today is legacy, which seems very fitting given the year we've all had and how everybody might be feeling. How are you feeling personally on the sort of subject of legacy?
I suppose, it sounds very grandiose, doesn't it, to talk about legacy, but I suppose in a much more kind of real and practical way, all of us at various stages in our lives and careers sort of think about what we've done so far, what we'd like to do in the future, and if it's not too big of a stretch to think about what we might look back on and be proud of in terms of what we've done, what we've achieved, what we tried to do at least. And I think coming out of the pandemic, I suspect a lot of people have then taken that opportunity to reassess a little bit about what they do and why. And I suppose it's whatever you call it, I suppose that idea of reflecting on what you want to have achieved is probably something that a lot of people have been mulling over in the last year.
Definitely. And with somebody of your experience, having worked as editor at Creative Review, you have a lot of insight into the industry. How do you feel like the creative industry can build a legacy and be proud moving forward?
Well, one of the things I think that has really encouraged me and been really interesting is the way that the wider creative industry is coming to terms with its role and its responsibility and its ability to respond to the climate crisis. So beyond simply, driving awareness or talking about things, really looking at what practical measures can be done to change minds, mitigate impact, change the way we work. I feel like the industry is getting to grips with the nitty gritty now, rather than just the spreading awareness message.
Absolutely. And so as we look back, of course, we have to look forward. How do you feel things are going personally and professionally in the industry as a whole? Do you think we have a lot to be optimistic about in 2023?
Of course, we should always be optimistic. And, we're sitting here in this fantastic new building at Manchester School of Art, surrounded by young people entering into the world of design. And how can you not be optimistic when you're surrounded by that? I mean, it's always a burst of energy to come into any university, I think. And so, that always gives me optimism. I think, as I say, I feel like difficult conversations are being had now, particularly around climate crisis and around a number of other issues in the industry in terms of diversity, representation, all sorts of things, which, it's been maybe a while coming, but it feels like there's a genuine desire to move forward and make meaningful change rather than just paying lip service to some hopes for change.
Lots to be hopeful for. Now, in the spirit of Creative Boom, Patrick, I'm going to ask you a Christmassy question.
Oh, Lord, okay.
Can you remember growing up what the sort of amazing Christmas present was that you got, and whether it's it'll be interesting to know whether it's related to art and design.
Well, I remember a couple of things. I remember really wanting, I was young, very young, like primary school age in the 70s. This was an age when, for the first time, like football clubs, you could get replica kits, like proper replica kits, not just something you buy from Woolworths or whatever. So I remember really wanting, I think it was like an England tracksuit, being incredibly disappointed that my dad had got me this sort of really old school 1960s kind of thick cotton thing that wasn't exactly what I wanted. Something to be resplendent in nylon with, 3 Adidas stripes down the sleeves, and that didn't happen. The other thing was that in those days, there used to be all these really quite bizarre toys that were obviously heavily advertised in the run-up to Christmas for gullible kids like me. And there was this really weird one that I really wanted called Chip Away. And it was a very bizarre thing. So basically it was like plastic figurines. And I think the one I had, I don't know why, but it was ice hockey players that were about 10 centimeters tall. And they were encased in, I guess it was like plaster of Paris. And the idea is that you were meant to be like a sculptor, and you would have your little plastic chisel and hammer, and you would chip away this plaster of Paris to reveal this incredible sculpture inside, which was this really cheaply produced kind of plastic figure, which you then painted. And I think you got maybe 3 of these things in the set, and it literally took like 5 minutes, and I'd run through the lot Christmas morning and it was all done. And I was like, okay, what do I do now? That was my I was really thrilled to get it. And then it was like, okay, I've done that now. I haven't got anything else to do for the rest of the day.
Oh gosh, that's so sweet. It's nice to know toys have come on a little bit since then.
I would hope, yeah.
And do you have any resolutions for next year, or is that something you don't really bother with anymore?
God. I don't have any resolutions. I think, except my main resolution, which has been probably come to the fore much more since the pandemic, is just to try not to worry about everything and try to just get on with it and enjoy the ride.
I think that's wisdom all of us can take on this Christmas. Well, thank you so much, Patrick.
Pleasure.
It's been lovely to see you.
You too. Thanks.
So thanks, Harris, for coming to this Design Manchester, this wonderful day. Sunny day in Manchester as well. I'm really proud. Whenever anybody comes up to Manchester and it's raining, I always roll my eyes when they're like, oh, it's always raining in Manchester. But today we are blessed with blue skies.
I'd like to hope that we brought it with us, but it was raining in London, so I don't think we can take responsibility for that.
Well, thank you so much for coming along. We are looking today at legacy because this is the theme of Design Manchester. And so for our Christmas special, it felt very fitting to look back and perhaps look ahead. Where's your head at the moment when you're looking back? What are you thinking?
Guess linked to what I'm been talking about today, the last 2-3 years in terms of where I was at when I was last at Design Manchester, and then what's taken place in that time from a pandemic point of view, from a critical race point of view, and how people have had to adjust, or how I've had to adjust my design practice as a result of the social and emotional turbulence that has had an impact on my life and on my work.
It's been quite a kind of turbulent time for us all.
Indeed.
But, more so for others than, and it's been really kind of like just lately, I feel like we're all reflecting and thinking about what's coming next. And it's a big question, isn't it? It's a big kind of what is going to happen next? Where are we going to be a year from now?
I don't know if any of us, obviously we can all speculate and make conjectures as what we think might be taking place. And obviously we'll always kind of, as designers, our role of old has been to almost be a bit like fortune tellers, and we try and do those predictions. But maybe a lot of the conversations that I've been involved in or tried to instigate have been very much about bringing other people into that space and that conversation. So it becomes less hierarchical in terms of myself as a lead creative, whatever that means, kind of being very instructive or making the decisions as what happens, but trying to work with people to try and have a more collective voice in terms of how we move forward. So therefore it becomes less prescriptive, even if it comes from an inspirational point of view, and it becomes more collective.
What have you learned about yourself then in these last couple of years? Have you kind of really grown, do you think? And have you sort of changed?
Yeah, definitely. I've grown in the sense that I've changed the way I've had to kind of resource my design inspiration. I used to travel loads for work pre-pandemic, and that was put to bed overnight. And so in terms of how I would naturally find inspiration through different travels, whether it's up and down the country or quite often around the world, it's meant that the way that I think about design comes through often now through conversation, which became a direct result of having to speak on forums or through Zoom, Teams, whatever it would be, for a year and a half. So therefore, I take a lot more design referencing from the conversations that I have as opposed to the travels that I have.
And has your work changed as a result?
I think the way that I communicate my work has changed. I think the work, maybe it has changed. I think I haven't necessarily analysed it in that way, but the way that I think about so yes, the work has changed in terms of the inception of the work comes from a place of dialogue rather than a place of visual or referencing through osmosis. It's come through different conversations that I have, and then therefore I choose to have those conversations up front as opposed to things that happen innocuously as I go along.
Sounds great. I mean, I think there's so much more we could dive into, but we're going to be chatting to so many people today. So I feel like this is a wider conversation for another time.
Yes.
Now, in the spirit of Creative Boom, I want to sort of make it a little bit lighter now. And I just want to ask you, what was your favourite kind of Christmas moment or Christmas gift that you had? It could be recently as an adult or as a child. Is there any sort of like fond memory you can share with our listeners?
So as a child, it's random, my favourite, the one that it may not have been, but the one that stands out was a sleeping bag that I got when I was about 4 or 5. It was something that was 3-4 times the size of me, and I had it for many years. It was an army green sleeping bag with a cream lining, and I just remember it's probably the biggest physical present I ever had, and maybe that was because I was so small, it felt much larger than life. But yeah, I recall that as a toddler, loving that as my favourite Christmas present.
That's lovely. And do you have any New Year's resolutions, or is that something you...
Wow, it's a bit early for that.
Well, this is coming out on the, I think it's the 21st of December, so...
I guess in one sense, I've started to make a few decisions about how I go into next year. And it's going to sound a bit Ebenezer Scrooge, but maybe that's in the spirit of Christmas. But I'm going to do a lot less favours for people and take a bit more time out for me. And it's not that I wish to work less with people, but I think a number of people have felt over the last year or two, I've not made enough time for me, and it's not egotistically, I feel that I give out a lot, or a lot is demanded of our times these days. And I think I need to spend a bit more time working out what were my favourite moments, because I don't think I celebrate those moments enough. And so it's so often on to the next call, the next meeting, the next Zoom, and actually not taking stock of actually you've worked with some great people, or you've got some really great friends, and those moments I feel I need to celebrate more. And so 2023 for me will be a lot more about celebration.
Brilliant. Celebration. What a way to end our conversation. Well, Merry Christmas, and wishing you all the best for 2023.
Thank you, and same to you, and a Happy New Year.
Thank you. Hi, Swifty. Thank you so much for joining me here at Design Manchester.
It's my absolute pleasure. Good to be up north again.
I was going to say, back where it all began for you.
Yeah.
You must be feeling particularly reflective today.
Yeah. It's always great to come back up north. I mean, yeah, I grew up not very far away from here, towards Liverpool, in a little village. I grew up in the country. And yeah, like I said in the talk, I came to Manchester Polytechnic, as it was then, because Malcolm Garrett and Peter Saville came here. And yeah, I did my degree here, and it was great. I loved it.
Walking in the footsteps of your heroes.
I was, yes, definitely. Yeah, and it's one of those things, isn't it? You think to yourself, we didn't have the internet in those days, and we didn't have... How did we know about this stuff? I suppose it was just word of mouth. And I did a foundation course first in Padgate near Warrington. And I think I had a very good tutor who probably said, check out Malcolm Garrett's work, which then was, Culture Club and Duran Duran and all that sort of stuff. But obviously Buzzcocks was the go-to kind of work that he did that inspired everyone. And I think, yeah, and then Peter Saville and Factory Records and Hacienda and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, it's I'm very proud of my student days and my northern upbringing. Yeah, definitely.
But you were attracted by the bright lights of London, shall we say?
I wouldn't say I was attracted. What happened was, there wasn't really a lot of design industry here at the time. Yeah, apart from sort of Factory and, the Hacienda, but that was all sewn up with Peter Saville. And as a young student kind of leaving college, there wasn't a lot going on, really. Yeah. It was a very different city then. It's great. It's fantastic now. But then there was a dull and dreary side to it that didn't feel like it was going anywhere, really, so to speak. And I actually got a job working for the Face magazine in London, which, apart from the sort of Manchester Malcolm Garrett, Peter Saville camp, you had another camp at the time, which was Neville Brody, who was equally as, inspirational at the time. And he came to the college, to the Poly, to give a talk. And I showed him my portfolio and he liked it. And he literally wrote his number down on a bit of paper and said, call me. I was like, what? Okay.
I bet you were kind of, what is going on?
Because he knew that he was going to stop designing the face, and that the designer that was working with him, Robin Derrick, who then moved up to be the art director. So there was a junior designer position opening up, you know.
Amazing.
Yeah, because I was drawing a lot of type by hand, and I did very much have a sort of quite Neville Brody sort of style about me at the time, you know, and he saw that, and it took me a long time to get him on the phone, and I was beginning to give up, and I pretty much put my degree show up, and I was like, can't get hold of him. It's always his assistant. He's always in a meeting, you know, usual story. And I remember it was a Friday night on a 7 o'clock. I just thought, you know what, I'll just give him one last go. And he picked up the phone, and he went, yeah, I've been meaning to phone you. I was like, yeah, all right. And before I knew it, I was in London working at the Face magazine.
Amazing. And you worked with him for quite some time.
Yeah, I worked at the Face for 18 months. The brother, when you say sister, but really it's the brother publication, Arena, came out, which was the first independent men's magazine in the country. So I started working on that as well. And I later then took over the design directorship of that when Neville finished. And then what I used to do is I used to moonlight in the evening. I used to go over to Neville. So Neville had moved his studio from the Face offices to Tottenham Court Road, and he got himself a nice little studio there. And I used to go over there and do sort of evening shifts and all-nighters. I mean, you know, the all-nighter.
Wow, that old classic.
Yeah, we used to do a lot of all-nighters at Tottenham Court Road. And I then left the Face and started working for Neville full-time. And he moved his whole setup to Old Street, to sort of Shoreditch, Old Street. And he was, Malcolm had been there.
Before it was trendy.
Before it was trendy. So we're talking 80s, late 80s. And so I did a few more years there with him. And by that point, he had a room full of designers all working away, some really good designers. And I then started designing a magazine called Straight No Chaser. Mm-hmm. Because Neil Spencer, one of the co-editors, knew... And I'd worked with Neil at the Face. He was one of the sub-editors. And Neil put me in contact with a guy called Paul Bradshaw, who had started self-publishing this little jazz fanzine, as it was then, you know. They called it a designer fanzine. And they were looking for a full-time designer, because although it was produced on Mac and they had a few sort of Mac bods sort of doing work for them, it clearly needed some proper direction, you know. And so I said, I'll do it. And he said, well, there's no money. I was like, that's all right. Just let me do what I want. And so that was the deal I struck, you know, just like, let me do what I want and I'll just do it.
Brilliant. And so you've just been grabbing all these opportunities with both hands.
Yeah, definitely.
And you started your own studio in 1995 called Studio Babylon.
No, that's... no.
I'm getting ahead of myself.
You're ahead of yourself.
Sorry, my love.
In 1990, I started my own studio,
okay.
which was just Swifty Typographics.
Right.
And that was in Hoxton, not just around the corner from Hoxton Square, again, before gentrification was rife there. I mean, there was the Bricklayers Arms and one cafe, and that was it, you know.
Yeah.
There was nowhere to go or do anything. I mean, it was a scary part of town as well, you know. I mean, it's just desolate, really. But the rent was cheap, so I moved in there. We had a basement studio. I moved in with Straight No Chaser. The rent was £50 a week each. Yeah.
Great.
Did that. I think we were in the basement for the best part of a couple of years. And then the building next door, owned by the same landlord, came free. And we took over the whole building. I had the top floor. And I was there until 95.
Right.
And I got burgled twice. Oof. I got all my computers nicked and all that sort of stuff.
Happens.
Yeah. And also the other thing that happened was I started a family and I was living West London. So it was time to leave, you know, all the signals sort of led to sort of leaving Hoxton. And I didn't like the way it was going with the gentrification as well, actually. It wasn't the place that... I like to think that I go to places before they get trendy. You know, I like to stay ahead of the pack, if you like. And
is this why you've come back to Manchester?
yeah. Well, I might be going somewhere completely remote soon. Who knows? So I then moved my operation to Ladbroke Grove.
Yeah.
And started, what became known as Studio Babylon. I started employing some young designers and creatives.
Where did the name come from, Babylon?
The name came from a guy called Mode 2 joined the studio as a sort of unofficial member. He although he was London born, well, Mauritian born, and London for a while, he relocated to Paris for many years. And so he would come over from Paris to sort of hang out at the studio. And I met him, funnily enough, around the corner from where the old studio was in Hoxton Square was a place called the Blue Note Club, which was quite a happening club at the time. Mm-hmm. And they had a little gallery space downstairs. And I did an exhibition, funnily enough, with Ian Anderson.
Your nemesis.
Me.
I'm just making that up, by the way.
Yeah. Me and Ian always had this kind of weird relationship. We sort of trod a similar path, you know.
You have.
But different types of music and different sensibilities, you know. But it was Ian Anderson, me, what became the Mowax guys who took it on after me. Ian Wright, who was an illustrator that I've known for many years. And Dave Crow's in it.
Wow.
As well. Because what I didn't really get over in the talk, there wasn't enough time, but Dave Crow, before he obviously went into academia and took it all the way as far as you can take it, of course, he was an absolute fantastic graphic designer. I mean, he was brilliant. And he definitely inspired me just as much as Malcolm and Peter Saville and Neville. And, you know, Dave was right up there with the best of them, you know, really. And he had a very brilliant design career working in the music industry. He started off at Assorted Images with Malcolm. He then left there and went to Island Records, who I then later started doing a bit of work for. And then he started his own practice, and he did his own sort of own project called Trouble, which was a self-initiated project, which again was very inspirational for me. And I'd say that he was one of the first people that sort of started working in this new way that we now know as being a graphic artist. Do you know what I mean? Dave really sort of pioneered that with the Trouble project in the late 80s. And I took that idea on board as well. And Studio Babylon became a much more eclectic mix of kind of influences, and the Mode 2 influence kind of brought in this whole graffiti angle. And in 1995, well, he came to that exhibition at the Blue Note Gallery, which was called Progress in Work, and he hunted me down. He came over from Paris on a mission to hunt me down because I'd done a project the year before called Foster's Ice Street Art. And I termed it was me that coined the term street art. It had obviously come about in New York in the heyday of, you know, the graffiti movement in heyday in New York in the sort of mid and late 70s. I think the term street art had actually appeared, but not in a commercial setting. And that term hadn't been used for years. It was called graffiti. We called it graffiti.
You did.
And so I curated this project for Foster's Ice, and they were billboards in Camden, on Camden High Street. There was 10 billboards, and I commissioned, was it 10? I can't remember now. And I called it street art, and Mode came over from Paris because he'd heard about it. And he was just like, so what I became, Studio Babylon became this kind of I became this middleman between me and the graffiti fraternity, because in those days you couldn't just hire a graffiti artist because they were all underground. No one had Instagram in them days and all that sort of stuff. It was all word of mouth, and you used to go, oh, do you know this guy? Do you know that guy? And I started learning about it, and I'd bought Subway art and spray can art, Thames and Hudson books back in the day, and sort of I just had to kind of recap on it. And Mode obviously has been one of those people that's been sort of very instrumental in the sort of graffiti movement since the 80s, really. And that was Studio Babylon, and that lasted for about 4 or 5 years until 90.
Yeah.
Sorry, until 2000, the millennia.
Gosh.
And then I scrapped that as well because, the property developer. So at that time, Ladbroke Grove was very unfashionable.
It was.
In terms of having a design studio. And I was in this building called the Pall Mall Deposit, which was a big old building that they turned into studios. And the sharks that ran it kept putting up the service charge and the rent.
Did.
And there was one year where it got took over by some new people and they just hiked up all the prices. I just went, stuck 2 fingers up at them and went, sod you, bloody getting out of here.
Yeah.
So I moved my operation back home then. I had a 3-bedroom house in Ealing, still got it, just about to sell it actually. And I moved my setup into the back bedroom, which was quite weird, really, because I'd gone from this very social setting and having this studio full of, I say young kids, they were younger than me. And I quite liked the sort of mentoring sort of thing, it was quite good to do that for a few years. But I wasn't a very good boss. And what I did was I paid them crap money, but said, well, you can use the studio to do your own thing. Because that's kind of what Neville did with me. He paid me crap money, but I could work in the evenings. I could do my own shit in the evenings.
So it came back in kind and you were able to give back.
It's a good way to run a studio because you help develop other people. And that was kind of what I did. I just helped develop their careers. Took a little bit of a back seat. It was kind of good for me to take a little bit of a back seat because by the mid-90s, especially after the Foster's Ice thing, I was flavour, you know what I mean? I didn't really like being flavour too much. It's not really me. And it was quite nice to take a back seat and sort of calm down a bit and
have some moments of reflection.
Yeah.
As we are now in this wonderful Manchester School of Art. So there is clearly you have a whole podcast episode, as everyone else that I'm speaking to today has.
If you want to chat about it later again, we can.
We will chat. But I guess when we're sort of looking at legacy, we're always thinking about what's next, what's happening in the future. Is there anywhere for you to go next, Swifty, or is it? Do you feel like you've pretty much
for sure. I'm not
done
finished.
Everything?
Well, again, like I showed the 2 volumes of the 2 books that I've just published, self-published, and I think that was at some point I thought to myself, do you know what? I've got to get this down into a manageable thing that I can go to somebody. This is what I've done, or this is what I did in the 90s and the noughties. This is how I got started. This is all the stuff that I've done. Because I felt as though I was kind of getting to the point where it felt exhaustive. I was definitely exhausting the Swifty brand, if you like, although I never meant it to be a brand, but it did kind of turn into that. It was a branding exercise, really. It was a typographic branding exercise, really, for me. A lot of people think it was like narcissistic or something. It's rubbish.
No, I disagree with that. I think it's great to look back and celebrate what you've done.
Yeah, but a lot of people are like, oh, Swifty, oh, you're so wrapped up in yourself and Swifty this and Swifty that. I was like...
Well, I'm doing a Christmas special, I'm reflecting on 2 years of podcasting. I think it's great.
Yeah, but it just started, and because people used to call me Swifty as a kid,
Yeah.
And I don't know. And when I started, funnily enough, it was the ad manager at the Face that made me do it. Mm-hmm. So I was Ian Swift. The Swifty thing, I'd left that behind years ago when I was a kid, And he used to call me Swifty, you know. And he used to go, because I was a northerner, he used to go, "Hey up, Swifty, chips and gravy."
Love it.
Because I was the only northerner in a bunch of southern jesses, you know. And I was obviously still quite I'm still northern, of course, but I was more northern then, you know. I became southernised, of course, but
Well, you've been there a long time, but
been down south longer than I've been up north. But
well, probably,
yeah, I used to go, "Hey up, Swifty, chips and gravy."
I don't dare ask how old you are now, Ian.
I'm 57.
Right, okay. Big birthday coming up.
Yeah,
Long way off yet.
I'm not
You've
one
still
for-
got time.
I'm
You've
not
still
one
got
for
time.
those types
No.
of birth. Nah, forget it.
Just move on.
It's just another year.
So are you somebody who has New Year's resolutions, or is that just a load of, yeah, you don't
It's
really,
usually something like, I'm going to stop drinking, or
just like every one of us, yeah, cut down on the bacon.
I'm going to start exercising. No, it's the usual stuff. But as you saw on the talk today, there's a blank canvas at the end of it.
Yeah.
So 2023, and what was really good was that, you know, publishing these 2 books, kind of potentially putting them in a little box and going, I've done that to one side. I'm quite good at doing that. If anyone who, you know, for all those people that do know me, they know I'm not a very good person at keeping in contact and all that sort of stuff. And I've burnt quite a few bridges over the years. You know,
This isn't a counselling session, you know. Although it can be if you want.
And
You mean you're human. You've made
of
some
course
mistakes,
I'm human.
like
Of
all
course
of us.
I've made lots of mistakes.
Yes.
I don't regret any of it, of course. It's been brilliant. I kind of have loved every minute of it. But the times move on and you change, and as you get older, you get wiser. And I definitely want a slower pace of life. Mm-hmm. And I have been kind of working on that. And COVID actually did me a favour, because it made me stop for a minute and go, right, okay, I'm just going to stop now. I'm just going to take a breather. Okay, what am I going to do now? And I've been working on something. I haven't just been sitting on my arse. I'm not one of those people to just sit on my arse. And in fact, funnily enough, over the last 2 years, well, the COVID time has been the most relaxed I've ever been in terms of doing this and doing that and doing the other, partly because we couldn't. But it did me a favour, because it made me take stock, and it made me go, right, okay, what am I going to do now for the rest of my life? And started formulating a dream, is that the right word? Or a kind of a future for myself that hopefully will take me, it could take me to my grave.
Wow. Well, that's
type thing.
That's something to sort of sadly end this fascinating chat. And I feel like we could sit here for another couple of hours.
Just if you're interested in all that social media nonsense, follow me. My name is going to change, actually, so you'll have to hunt me out.
Well, we'll put it all together in the show notes.
You'll have to suss it out and work it all out.
And as it's our Christmas special, just one final question. Do you have any kind of like really fond memory of Christmas over the years, or a particular Christmas present that you had as a kid that just always sticks out in your mind this time of year?
Oh, blimey, I wasn't expecting that question.
Well, it's a curveball. We like to throw them now and again.
One thing I do remember when I was a lad growing up in that little village near Liverpool, and there was none of this. Oh, go out and buy a fancy Christmas tree. It costs you 50 quid or whatever. It wasn't obviously 50 quid in them days, but go up in the loft and get down the tinsel Christmas tree with the arms that you bend down.
Nice, classic.
And then you dig out your Christmas decorations, and there was always one Christmas decoration that had never quite worked out, and it was a baby's head, right, with this sort of tinsely grass skirt that sort of came down, and that always went on the top. That was the angel.
This explains a lot. I'm getting a sense of the person you are just from this lovely memory of Christmas. Well, thank you very much, and it was been lovely chatting with you. And
that was brilliant. Thank you very much.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, yeah.
Hello, Tony. It's nice to see you again.
Hello, Katie. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Welcome to the Creative Boom Christmas special.
I love the grotto you've created.
I've gone to a lot of trouble at the Manchester School of Art. I've created all these decorations that you cannot see. They're so special. They're a figment of our imagination.
Wonderful. And you're dressed as an elf.
You're trouble, you are. Honestly. How are you? Because it's been a while since we last caught up. And, it's a kind of poignant question, given that we're at Design Manchester today and the whole theme is legacy. So how have you been?
Yeah, good. I think emerging from the pandemic's been kind of weird for everybody, hasn't it? And
Hell yeah.
And I think, emerging into a world that has been plunged into conflict and unimaginable horror, you kind of think, well, where do I fit into all this? And where's my voice and what does it mean? I think we're all in a new context and we're trying to figure out what it all means and how it's kind of changed so many aspects of our lives, really.
It's turned everything upside down in a sense, hasn't it? And I think we're all, like so many of us are feeling reflective and what happens next.
Yeah.
Yeah. And how do you feel then looking back on your own career and how far you've come, all the successes you've had and you're now at this point where, we have had time to stop and reflect. Where's your head at currently looking back and looking forward?
I think all of this kind of came at a time in my life, I'm kind of mid-50s now.
Getting on a bit, mate.
I know, but still looking incredibly cool.
Still looking very much like the hipster that you
definitely
aspire to be.
It's like my kids have left home. Now it's just me and my wife and, she's started doing ceramics and turns out she's really good at that.
Amazing.
And it's kind of, so I think for myself, it's like, yeah, I've done all this stuff, but in a way that kind of really doesn't kind of count for anything now. It's kind of like, we're in such a new context that how do I make work that's relevant and people are going to understand, or what do I still need to do that? Can I just sort of disappear and do something else?
You can't disappear. You're like a kind of industry, like a classic piece of furniture.
Yeah, well, it's fun to be thought of in that way.
Well, what else would you do if you weren't sort of playing with type and print and coming out with your beautiful graphic art?
Yeah.
Where else would you head? Is ceramics a potential kind of new route?
I don't think so, because my wife does that so well. So I don't know. I think I've come back to the conclusion that I'm just going to carry on doing what I've always done and kind of just explore new territories and new ways of working and making new connections and all that stuff. I think over the past few months as well, I've kind of been doing a bit of traveling again and just kind of getting back into that groove of, kind of being a bit less down the end of a computer screen and a bit more in the real world. And I think that kind of feeds into my kind of need for human connection and all that stuff.
Yeah, it's quite interesting, actually. A couple of people I've chatted with today are at the kind of height of their careers, they're kind of not necessarily at the top of the hill and looking down, but, it's just, it can carry on your career for as long as you want it to. Just because you've achieved so much already and had lots of career success doesn't mean it's the end. You're just like everybody else. You're figuring out what happens next.
Yeah. And I think, it's an achievement to have been doing it for this long as well. But and I think it's exciting that kind of what comes next, really. So I think it's up to me to, sort of decide where I'm going to put my energy and, how that's going to sort of develop and all that stuff. But, I think as a creative, you're always in that process of reevaluation and looking, trying to figure things out, and I think as soon as you've got things all worked out, that's when you need to think again, I think.
Yeah, definitely. And have a reassess and see what kind of sparks your interest. I suppose that's probably a sign that you need to take a break and have some rest, because we never stop running, do we, really?
Yeah, I think the way that I work now, I've kind of, I'm fortunate to kind of take on interesting projects, and, I've kind of got my own practice and organising exhibitions and things like that. So it's kind of, I pretty much work on my own terms all the time, and I kind of set my own kind of deadlines and pace, really. So, but I'm in the studio every day working and doing stuff.
Great. You say it like you're in a position of privilege, but you've worked really, really damn hard to get where you are, and you haven't stopped for however many years.
Yonks.
I dare say, for a while.
But I suppose it's kind of like, keeping that enthusiasm. And I think you need to, kind of forge new collaborations and work with new people, and, kind of take your work into different directions. And I think you need that input from other people as well. I think you can only kind of survive for so long kind of looking inwards. I think you need that extra input from other people, from whatever field they come from. They don't just have to be other kind of visual thinkers. They can be from anywhere, really.
Great. Now, just moving on to a little lighter mood here. Christmas special. It sort of begs the question, have you got any fond memories growing up of Christmas, like a particular toy that you really wanted and you never got, or one that you did and it was like the best thing ever? Can you remember?
Yeah, well, it's, I can vividly remember the kind of the anticipation leading up to Christmas, that last day at school when you could, where we watched films and things like that, and you could
bring in board games.
Yeah, you can bring games in, and it's always like all rules are off, and I love that kind of sense of anarchy as well at the end of school, just before Christmas. But yeah, just like the huge build up, and like having kids of my own, just, when they were little, we'd kind of like plan all these things for Christmas Day, and, seeing their little shiny faces all happy and stuff. But I think, Christmas now, it's, it's still a real family time, and it's kind of, still, Christmas Eve, when the house is quiet, and, it's all that stuff. And I think, because everyone that across the country, they're all celebrating on the same day pretty much. So, you don't get that many work emails on Christmas Day, hopefully.
Yeah. It's the only time of year that us creatives can truly sort of chill out, isn't it, really?
Yeah. And that bit in between Christmas and New Year's, that kind of, when you forget what day it is and what meal you've had, and you've been in your pajamas for 3 days. I love that bit.
And what do your pajamas look like? Because, you're very dapper. You always, present yourself very well, if you don't mind me saying, Anthony.
Oh, yeah. Kind of silk kimono.
Nice. You're taking the mic now, aren't you? Yes,
yeah.
Thank you. I can never tell. I think this is why you enjoy spending, having a conversation with me occasionally, because it just goes over my head. So we met in the Design Museum the very first time when we did our podcast. That was at the start of 2020, before all of this pandemic happened.
Yeah, in the before times.
In the before times, exactly. So much has happened since then. It's lovely to have been able to sort of get to know you over the years. And dare I ask, have you any kind of New Year's resolutions?
Well, my New Year's resolution every year is the same one. It's just carry on being awesome. So I pretty much do that every year anyway. So yeah, that's fine.
Carry on being awesome. Love it.
I think it's like, you kind of think, all the things that you kind of set out to do the previous year that maybe didn't kind of work out exactly how you wanted them. The new year, it's always a kind of clean slate. So you can, project this idealized image of yourself into the next year, and maybe you'll live up to that.
Or maybe not.
Maybe not.
But all will be well.
Definitely.
Well, thank you so much, and Merry Christmas. And I hope 2023 is full of joy and wonderful things.
And a Merry Christmas to you too. And to all the listeners, a Happy New Year.
Oh, Sarah, Boris, it's wonderful to see you. Merry Christmas. So we're here at Design Manchester. You're one of the speakers. We're talking about legacy and where we're sort of heading next. Where's your head at in that kind of like whole theme?
I like to think about what's next. So I think it's really, it's a good time as well because we've been through really tough times. We're still in tough times. And I think looking forward is really important. And I think with creativity, we have this power to try to get our heads out of, I guess the mud to rise in times of darkness. So that's why I'm doing some things on color and some things on language, and they're generally things that make me happy, but it's also ways to explore different topics. And I think looking back is also important, but I think more as in a sort of reflective, constructive way. Mm-hmm. And I'm really trying to focus on positive things at the moment.
I think we're all trying to do that, aren't we? Because it just feels a bit heavy at the moment, all this doom and gloom, everything that we've just gone through in the last couple of years. But there's a stroke of hope, isn't there? An optimism that I'm grabbing onto. And how do you feel about what's coming next? Are you hopeful?
I think after an event like today, I'm quite hopeful. There's a really amazing community in Manchester.
Yeah.
And
it's because I'm here.
Yeah. And I think that it's really friendly, and it's really, I feel people are really approachable and they're curious and they're nice. And when I experience that, it makes me hopeful because I think people are what brings hope. There's other things. There's things around that we can draw in to bring hope, but I think people are going to make change, and we're part of that change. And so it's like all the small deeds, the bigger ones, bigger actions. And I think change will come if we work collectively for it. So I'm hopeful in that sense. I don't know if it's naive, maybe a bit, but anyway.
I don't think it's naive. I think it's lovely to have that kind of angle because, if we lose hope, there's really not much to, live for. I feel like hope is part of an essential of the human condition. If we can't have something to look forward to, or if we don't think things are going to get better, then it's all a bit kind of glum and life becomes a bit meaningless. Yeah. I mean, we make meaning as well, don't we, in our own ways? Yeah. And you've been doing that by exploring. I mean, I remember the last time we chatted, you were talking about pivoting more into sort of graphic art and doing more of what you love. Yeah. And that's fantastic. And have you kind of done that, or is it still a sort of exploration, a still sort of ongoing process?
Yeah, it's an ongoing process. I think in some ways, sometimes I'll describe my situation currently as in I'm an old designer and a young artist. And it's really interesting when you're shifting your practice because you obviously have to recognize that there's everything to learn. And it's going into arts is quite tricky. But I realized that I had sidelined that side of my practice for so long. And one of the things of working as a creative is that I think we're learning every day. And so by jumping more into my art practice, I feel I'm learning even more. I'm also putting myself in danger. People like to associate you with one type of work. And so it's going to be a long journey, but a bit like when I was reflecting on my design journey, I like this quote, which says, "There's more to life than increasing its speed." And it's about how you feel in the present moment and, taking the time to absorb things and seeing where they go. And sort of, that's also why I'm keeping the design practice, is that I need to sustain my art practice in various ways. And so it's also recognizing that. And it was interesting, a couple of years ago, I was interviewed by Elephant Art magazine for one of their features on side practices that artists have as jobs. Yeah. So a lot of artists have other jobs on the side. We're not all successful artists in the brink of a overnight.
It takes time.
And so I think for me, it's also like recognizing that I don't know a lot of the ways how to get into it, and so it's kind of opening up and asking the right questions and reaching out to people. And I do find that curators are very protective and they're not necessarily always that open with answering questions. And so I'm hoping as well for the future that we'll have a slightly more, open outlook on those things and just, helping one another to create, really.
Yeah, I think that's coming. I think, we became close, didn't we, again in the pandemic, and people were more kind of thoughtful and kind. I've seen a little bit of that go away and it's slipped back into old kind of ways of being. But there's definitely some changes, some positive changes I think I've seen in the creative industry, and that's wonderful. And the wonderful people like yourself have always been wonderful and have done so much to give back. You have been doing lots of mentoring. You've been like collaborating with other people. It's just so amazing to be back with people again. I mean, it's surreal being sat together in a room. I know, because I have to tell our listeners, you helped me get through some difficult times in the last couple of years. I hope I helped you too.
You did too, definitely.
Some FaceTimes and giggles and putting the world to rights.
I actually miss those moments because Katie doesn't text me anymore now.
I don't text you as much as I used to, and I probably should. But that's the thing, isn't
it? I miss it.
We've just all got really busy. Everybody I speak with, and it's not necessarily friends in the creative community. It's like, my friends who work in, I've got friends who work in finance, in PR, all over the show, and everybody's just got really busy. Yeah. Life is busy again. Busy.
It is.
Yeah. I feel like Christmas this year, everybody's really kind of crawling towards the break a little bit, and we're all just really excited about just having a week or two off, just a moment to have some peace and be with family and close friends.
I can't wait.
What are you doing for Christmas this year?
It's a good question. I think, that's the tricky thing. I mean, it's on the one hand a privilege and a joy, but on the other hand, it's like it divides me. But I have family split a bit all over. So I have probably going to Germany, probably going to France, and probably a bit of the UK, but it's just like kind of trying to see everyone. So it's not always that restful.
No, it's not.
But yeah.
I forget that. It's different for everyone, isn't it?
Yeah, sometimes I just wish I was from one place and would just stay in that place. But yeah, so.
Well, you say that. I have 4 different families to go and see over Christmas. So
okay.
It's very busy running around for me. It might not necessarily be different countries.
In a static city.
I have to sometimes just, if anybody's listening and they're an introvert like me and they get tired by constant kind of company, just take a book and just no one will mind if you just escape to a room and just have a little read and a bit of peace and quiet.
Hide under a duvet.
You do what? Sorry?
Hide under a bed.
Oh, hide under a duvet. Yes, absolutely. Don't come near me. I need to recharge my batteries.
I'm still sleeping.
Exactly. Oh my gosh. And looking back on the Christmases you've had, can you think of any kind of standout fond memories of this time of year? Like a toy that you might have got or a memory with someone special?
Oh gosh. It's quite hard because we're not like super Christmassy in the family. And we don't tend to do it that much, but I remember one thing that I like that my parents do. They bake these dry cookies.
Nice.
Which tastes good actually. And they just put like a bowl of these cookies out. And then the next day we come and we eat them, and it's just like a really cute ritual.
Yeah.
And they obviously have the shape of a reindeer or a sledge or whatever. And I think it's definitely like that moment of baking is also like symbolic of slowing down because we never have time to do it the rest of the year.
Yeah.
And I think it's just this get together and doing something simple away from a screen. And just that feels quite wholesome and yummy.
Yeah, and it brings everybody together, and it's a nice sort of distraction whilst you're sort of preparing the ingredients. Yeah. You can talk and catch up with the people you love.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a special time of year. Okay, so what are your New Year's resolutions, Sarah Boris?
Oh gosh. Well, I never take resolutions in reality.
No,
but
not-
I
that's
do
fine.
feel that if I had to take some, well, one of it would be obviously spend less time in front of a screen. And that's also why my art practice is giving me a lot of joy, because it's taking me away from the screen. Do more art residencies, because these are really like safe spaces where I can create and where I have space to create, like where I get a massive workshop space. So I did one last year and I'd love to go back. So that would be a resolution. And I think that resolution is about building time to do what you want to do. And I think time slips by so quickly that you forget your sort of goals. And another one would be to perhaps do a website.
Yes.
With a little web shop to sell my artworks, because
Brilliant.
a bit like one of the speakers was saying earlier, and he was selling directly his books, and you get to know the people who want to get your work. And I think that's just really also part of the joy of creating, is hearing those stories of people experiencing what you're doing. So the website would be cool if any web developers are listening to this and want to join me in this cool venture.
Yes, get in touch.
And also spend a bit of time doing nothing outdoors in nature.
Ooh, now you're talking.
Maybe go on a camping trip with you.
Well, okay, so in that case,
Because I know you love those.
I love being outdoors. So I've got a couple of resolutions myself in that case. First being, must text Sarah Boris more often.
Yes, good one.
and FaceTime at least once a quarter. You know, I'm
Okay,
going
I'll
to
take
compromise
that.
on a quarter. I'm a busy girl.
Okay,
At least once
fair
a month. Come on.
Okay.
You're special. Thanks for chatting with me. It's wonderful to see you. I'm looking forward to our camping trip next year.
Me too.
Possibly in the lakes.
Yes. Oh,
Have you ever been? Have you ever been to the lakes?
I've been once.
Whereabouts?
James Cropper Paper Mill.
Oh yes, I've been there.
It was amazing. I'd love to go back, actually.
Oh, it's
was
not
amazing.
too far. Is it
It's
near
really near,
Kendal?
like-
Or is it near? Oh, I know where it is. Yes. Okay, we'll go and do a field trip, and we'll go and have a look at paper being made,
This gives me hope.
and we'll walk up some hills. Do you like walking?
I love walking.
Okay. If anybody wants to join me and Sarah Boris on a trip up to the lakes for a walk and to go to James Cropper Paper Mill, which is the same, it's the paper mill that supplies GF Smith, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They make also their own paper in fabulous colours.
Fabulous. Beautiful. Gosh, if my friend Laura Boast is listening to this, she'll have fainted by now. She's obsessed with paper. Merry Christmas, Laura. Anyway, so Merry Christmas, Sarah Boris.
Joyeux Noël.
Stan, it's been, quite a long time since we last saw each other.
It was actually the art show, degree shows.
At the Manchester School of Art, right
Yes.
here in this building where we're
yeah.
sat now.
How was that? Last year, wasn't it? It wasn't the one recently.
It was this summer.
Was it this summer? Oh God, I can't tell how time.
I know, it's just
know.
been one of those years where everybody's like, was that this
Yeah.
year or was that like 2 years ago?
Well, yeah,
We just can't
exactly, yeah,
remember.
absolutely, yeah.
Oh, it's so lovely to see you. You're looking very dapper in your
Well,
mustard coloured polo
Well,
neck.
thank you very much. It's my favourite. It's my favourite jumper.
Is it really? Why
Yeah.
is that?
I don't know. I just think it's because it keeps my neck warm and it's a nice cut. you
Yes.
know. And on events like this, I'll
You
rock
always
it.
make an
Yeah,
effort.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what my excuse is. I'm wearing a slight cravat, very kind of Japanese style,
It's very nice.
made by a friend of mine, which I love.
You look very French today.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Sarah Boris said that. And I
Oh,
was
wow.
really, really, really kind of like, oh my gosh, I've made it, you know.
The
'cause
Chanel-y.
The Chanello. I feel like we cannot do this though without the lovely. I cannot not mention Barney
Oh, yeah,
Ibbotson, because the first time I met you was when we did a podcast
Yep.
just before the pandemic in what is now the Ducey Street Warehouse. In the little cinema. No, it wasn't. It was in the cinema
It was
there.
in the cinema, yeah.
God,
Yeah.
it feels like such a long time ago.
Yeah, cool building that is.
And obviously the whole purpose of the event today is legacy and looking back and looking forward. As we look back, how do you feel about the last few years? Because the last time we spoke, you were talking about retirement. You were kind of thinking about maybe winding things down at some point.
Well, I think what happened was I was thinking about retirement, but then I bought a new house. And I paid off the mortgage and I bought a new, and then we decided to move to a bigger house.
Always the way.
And then, it was a lot more expensive than the house I lived in before. And it's like, now I can't just retire anytime soon. I've got to pay off this mortgage. And so retirement is on the back burner.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's still all guns blazing.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
With the kind of illustration work.
Pretty much so, yeah.
What's happening for you right now? Where are you at? What's doing really well?
Oh God, it's just really hard to say. Well, normally, because we're close to Christmas, like, I got a print shop. I give that little plug, and
You have got a print shop.
yeah, well, online print shop. So that's doing well. I mean, it's, like pre-Christmas, it's just kind of it gets pretty crazy, really. I mean, so I was trying to spend a lot of time helping out my assistant, trying to like running the shop. So it's so that's what's happening now. But then I got other work. What am I working on? I've got a little side hustle with Man United at the moment now. So.
Oh, have you?
Oh yeah, that's really nice.
Gosh, that's a dream come true.
Well, yeah, I mean, I've been working with them on and off for the last few years, but now it's kind of like they're coming to me more now for like gifts. So
You're in the wrong team though. It should be blue. It should be blue.
Well, I've been a United fan all my life. Yeah.
I like watching your rants on Twitter whenever the football's on. I'm like, I wonder how like a United supporter feels right now. I know. I'll go on Twitter and see what Stan's whinging about.
It's the beer talking. After a few beers, click, 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 click.
Have you been watching the football, the World Cup?
I watched the first like 3 games and then realised I've got to work now. You know what I mean? That's the problem. And I missed the game that just happened now. Japan Germany.
I know.
I believe Japan beat Germany, which is quite a surprise, really.
So good.
Yeah. So
we're old enough to remember the pain and suffering that Germany, that football team has caused. What my dad calls them the divers.
The 96 Euro 96 is just it's still ingrained in people's memories. I've never seen so many grown men cry after that game. Yeah.
It was painful. It's one of those things in life, isn't it? Can you bring yourself to watch England? It just brings so many memories of pain and joy all in one. Sometimes I'm like, I just can't. I don't think I've got the emotional. I haven't got the kind of space this year to deal with it. But I'm slowly creeping in and watching it. And
it'll get you as soon as if England get through the stages and end up in the quarters or semi, like it'll be feverish, the atmosphere, I reckon. Yeah.
And your prints are still doing really well. Yeah. I love that I've occasionally texted you and sent you a property on Rightmove that's got one of your prints in the living room. Yeah. I have a neighbour across the road that's got about 6 of your prints in his lounge. Yeah, no, that's one of those things that's crazy. You can literally, there's a road, I think it's Burton Road. Every other house seems to have if you look through the windows, there's a picture that I've done, which is always it's very flattering. I never expected to see that, but it's very nice to see it happen, I remember asking you in our interview, what's the most popular portrait that you've done? And obviously that changes depending on what is going on culturally. Yeah. What's the kind of bestseller right now? Yeah, again, it changes. I think it's still... There's one particular one that sells a lot is the Green Lady. I did a pastiche of the old famous 70s kitsch painting by Tretyakov. It was I did my version of it, and that sells still quite a lot. And mostly the football ones, I have actually kind of branched out and done Man City players as well. Wow, that must have been painful. Well, it's not really, because it's not really, because it's I've got so many friends and family who are Man City fans, and it's kind of I've almost accepted them as being as good as United now. Wow. And it's very generous. And it's Haaland. And we have a kind of a mutual disrespect for Liverpool, and that kind of brings you together. Yeah, it does seem to bring Man City fans and Man United fans together. Is Liverpool? Which is kind of quite funny, really. Yeah. It's weird, isn't it? Because we obviously don't hate these teams. No, we don't hate Germany or France or Argentina who lost today. Oh yeah. Oh yes. Yeah. But it's nice to create these rivalries just to make football more fun. Really, it's good fun. It's good fun. I'm loving all the kind of things that you shared over the pandemic. You kept everybody smiling. All these kind of really interesting outfits that you were putting together. Oh yeah, I got into my leisure suits. My kind of like tracksuits, my Gucci tracksuit, my fake Gucci tracksuit and stuff like that.
So yeah.
Oh, it's great. And have you done a Haaland portrait
I've done a
yet?
Haaland
Yeah,
one recently. Yeah.
okay.
I mean, I think he's a great footballer. You know what I mean? I'm not. You know, I have no.
It's a beast.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
He's great. Who do you think is going to win the Premiership? It's not the Premiership anymore, is it? Blimey.
Premier League.
Premier League.
Well, you know, yeah, City are favourites, but now that Ronaldo's left United, I feel this. You know, I feel like come the second part of the season, United could really kick on. I think like you know, Ronaldo was affecting how the team played. You know, and now it means United can actually start kind of like concentrating without him and actually start playing better. Really, you know, because we're all, you know, like for the last 6 months we've been accommodating him really, and the statistics will tell you United play better without him. So the fact that he's gone, the better for the team really.
I love that we've just dipped into this football track.
I know.
So it's Christmas, and you know we've talked about looking back, and like you know it's that time of year we start to look forward. What are your sort of plans for next year, and do you have any kind of New Year's resolutions that you've been thinking about?
Well, really enough, because of the pandemic, really, it's like it's just changed everything. I mean, I'm not really particularly looking forward to Christmas. Not because it's Christmas. It's just kind of I'm just taking every day as it comes. Really, I mean, it's like Christmas is happening. We gotta and admittedly, Christmas is a bit of a pain in the arse this year because we have to travel to see different parents because you know because my wife's parents are all split up. You know, so it's kind of like having like you know.
Do you think you've reached that stage where you're potentially, you know, like me, a grumpy old man?
Yeah, yeah. You're just describing me now. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you know.
You just want to be at home with your feet up.
Yeah, I just kind of, you know, I'm just pretty much so. Yeah, you know, and ideally, I prefer Christmas at home. You see, I mean, it's very rare that we actually have Christmas at home. Mm-hmm. So and like during lockdown, that was like one of the best parts is like we're staying at home for Christmas. Like, hey, you know. So, yeah, this is no disrespect to my in-laws.
Just for the purpose, if any of Stan's family is listening to this, he does love you.
Yeah.
He does love spending time with you, and he's very much looking forward to seeing you all at Christmas.
But yeah, no, but in the New Year, yeah, I know. Anyway, move on from Christmas. You know, New Year. Don't really know. You know, it's like it's been continually the same for the last work-wise, the same for the last like 7 or 8 years, and I don't see that changing much really. And I kind of used to it really, you know. So it's there's no kind of future plans now. Well, obviously the future plan was to retire, but now you know I'll probably will retire at retirement age as opposed to kind of retirement at 50. I mean, which was the plan, you know.
Yeah. So much of the same, ploughing on and enjoying.
Absolutely, yeah, because I enjoy what I do. See, so I've got no complaints really because I do. Most of the time, I do enjoy what I do. So it's
most of the time.
Yeah.
You know, I miss the time when we were all in that same building, M1. Do you remember all the crowd, Ben and the three Lauras? Do you remember when you walked into a room once and you just went, "Whoa, 3 Lauras"?
Yeah, that's quite a thing. It's not. I don't think. You know. I mean, I'm not saying Lauras are. You know. Yeah, it was weird having 3. You know, you don't get 3 people of any name in it at the same time. You know, but yeah.
That's 2 mentions for Laura Boast this podcast episode. Merry Christmas, Laura. Oh, bless. Oh, God, it was so nice just looking back and meeting everybody today and chatting through. And I guess one of the things I've been asking everyone is, do you have any like special standout memories of Christmas? Like perhaps a moment with family or maybe like a toy that you got that you really, really wanted and you got it?
Wow, you put me on the spot here now. Yeah, you know what? I think the first Christmases with my kids were the best ones. You mean when they started to understand what Christmas was, and then they kind of opening presents. You mean it's yeah. In fact, one of the things I love about every Christmas is coming downstairs on Christmas Day, Christmas morning, and just watching our kids open all their presents. It's like they're always buzzing, and that's. You know, I think that's what I live for at the moment. It's just seeing my kids be happy, really.
Do you have a bit of Bucks Fizz? Do you keep your pajamas on?
No, we do keep our pajamas. Bucks Fizz probably not at the moment. You know, just don't drink as much as I used to. You know, but you know, normally it's like we'll have a what's it called again? That egg dish with hollandaise sauce. Eggs Benedict.
There you go. Got there.
Yeah, Eggs Benedict is like every Christmas morning it's Eggs Benedict for breakfast. And that's a tradition I've had with my wife since we met. It's like we kind of like we went to New York. I think it was about 13 years ago. And then we just got obsessed with Eggs Benedict, and then we made it a thing of like having Eggs Benedict for each of his birthdays and Eggs Benedict for Christmas. Yeah.
Well, I love that. Well, thank you so much for chatting.
Thank you very much. For having me.
Merry Christmas.
Thank you. Merry Christmas to you too.
And have a wonderful 2023.
And you too. Thank you very much.
Merry Christmas, Zoe.
Merry Christmas, Katie.
Doesn't quite feel Christmas yet, but we're getting there and we're slowly crawling towards that kind of time off. Are you looking forward to it?
Yes, I am. I'm in a job now where I can actually take some time off at Christmas. In previous work lives, I just worked all the way through Christmas. So whilst I can, I'm enjoying taking some time off.
Because you've had such an adventure. I mean, if we're going to look back, if we're going to consider that magical theme of legacy, you've done so many things. You've tried on so many hats. I mean, you've worked for Lady Gaga and kind of done stuff with the BBC. You're at the BBC now,
yes.
And learning all about this kind of inclusive design, this accessibility. How are you feeling? What are you currently reflecting on?
I'm definitely in a period of reflection where I've spent the past couple of years working at the BBC within the accessibility and assistive technology space and learned a lot in a very short space of time. And it's been very humbling for me to reflect back on my career and think, if only I knew then what I know now, what I would have done differently. And I would like to kind of, try and make sure that I can educate the next generation of talent who will work with the Lady Gagas of the future and say, hey, have you considered accessibility and inclusive, universal design and experience for everyone?
It's so important and so humbling to see that valuable work is going on. And so in that sense, I mean, we've been talking a lot about hope and how we feel about next year. And this makes me really happy knowing that there's all these amazing things going on, progress being made. Is that how you feel about the future yourself when you look to 2023?
Yeah, I always try to be hopeful. I think we've lived through a period of an enormous amount of fear. And I have been full of fear, thinking, what is the future? I think that, particularly today, we've talked to students. I've just done a big project with a load of students from the UK and Spain. And I never, they never cease to amaze me how inspiring that students are all the time. I've taught at different universities in the past as well. And the energy that they've got and the passion that they've got, I feel like they care so much more than what I did when I was leaving university. I think when I was at university, I was very focused on things that I wanted to do and things that made me happy. And I feel now reflecting back, that was almost like quite a selfish thing. It was, I want to do this work because it makes me feel good. And actually, what I've come to realize is that, making work that makes other people feel good, that's the good stuff. And all of the students that I work with on this project with Design Manchester and the British Council and the government in Barcelona, it's brilliant. There's so much that I feel like I'm rambling now, but yeah, the work that they've just produced is
it adds
brilliant,
meaning, doesn't it?
Yes,
it's meaningful. I think we all start our careers like that, but I think there's more awareness now, isn't there, than what we had. I don't know if we're similar age, but we weren't really sort of we weren't aware of a lot of these kind of wider issues in the world back then. I mean, the internet was pretty much just out there. And I think a little thing called Google was the new fancy search engine. We all ditched Excite.
Yeah.
And, you know, things have changed dramatically over the last 20 years.
Definitely. I mean, it's crazy to think that when I was at uni, I still had dial-up internet. I remember getting a Mac computer that is like I was like, ooh.
Was it one of those colourful ones, or is that too old? I can't remember.
No, so the sort of the first one that I used was one of the one. Well, it wasn't even a laptop, to be honest. It was one of the big Apple Macs that had the coloured back. But yeah, when I came to uni, there was like the laptop, and starting to do graphic design and motion graphics that you didn't need to go to somewhere else to do. You know, you could start to do that yourself. And to be honest, one of the things I do remember when I was here at Manchester School of Art was I remember saying to my tutor that one day we would have a piece of paper that was a computer, and that actually all the graphics would kind of like jump out of it, and it'd be like this interactive experience. I remember the tutor looking at me like I had 3 heads. And now we've got an iPad and even that looks old now. Like, it's like, oh, you know, what's the next thing? But technology moves so fast. And although technology can be really, really tricky and difficult, and it has loads of, you know, bad things about it, actually, particularly around accessibility and inclusion, I think it's just opened up a whole new world of good stuff. And if in just my career so far, I've seen so much change, I kind of can't wait to see what the next 20 years is going to be like.
It's very exciting. I mean, your job title didn't exist even just 10 years ago.
Definitely not. I mean, even my job now, you know, it is, we were talking about, I was talking to some friends about this the other day, and I said, the job that I want doesn't exist yet, but that's really exciting. You know, job titles will always change. But I do think that there's something really exciting happening around accessibility. I'm really thinking about how, you know, how can we make these digital experience in the metaverse accessible for everybody, or just having different experiences. Really, you know, personalization is huge, but I think we're on the tip of the iceberg with that at the moment. You know, the idea that you will have an experience with design that is just for you. You know, I find that really exciting. And when I reflect back and think, wow, if I was working with Lady Gaga again now, you know, actually, you know, thinking about the metaverse, thinking about, you know, those experiences for people who can't see or they can't hear, you know, and that's only two types of disability. You know, disability is huge, and as we have an aging population and disabilities increase with age, you know, it's a real sort of area of growth, and it's really exciting for me to think, gosh, I really hope that when I'm hopefully in my 90s, that I used to think that when I got to my 90s, I'd be sat in a rocking chair thinking like, oh yeah, this is really great. But actually, wouldn't it be great to think that like, actually, I'm not going to be in a rocking chair and I might have a headset on and I might be in Mars. I don't know. Like, I just think it's really exciting. I like that idea that, we're
going to see it in our lifetimes.
Yeah, we are. You know, we are going to see it. It's
because AI itself is just accelerating at such an insane fast pace. I don't think any of us really truly can comprehend how fast it's evolved. You know, how quickly It's going to become, people are talking about, oh yeah, that's kind of like in the future. No, it's right here. And there's some incredible things going on. And again, like with anything new, there are good things and there are bad things. And we as the humans have to sort of work out how to sort of tame the new beast.
Yeah, I think ethics is a huge topic, which so we won't have time to even touch on today. No. But yeah, I think like sadly, design ethics. Huge.
Well, maybe we'll come back and have a much deeper chat with you in the future, because I would really love that, and I'm sure our guests would, our listeners would too. So this is obviously a Christmas special, Zoe. Yeah. Let's sort of shake it up a little bit. Do you have any sort of fond memories of this time of year that you can sort of share?
So I was just thinking this when you asked me. I think. It's a double-edged sword actually at Christmas. So I find it quite. How can I say this now? I think it's an interesting one. I think I have some difficult sort of relationship with big festivities, whether it's like birthdays or Christmas. But I sort of really think it's one of those times of year where we could just spend time with friends and family that, we want to see.
Do you find it overwhelming having to do all the kind of like different social things? Is that what you're getting at?
I think it is it's overwhelming. I think,
because I lost my I don't think we can swear. Not when I'm sort of doing this with Design Manchester. I want to be on my best behaviour, but I lost my sanity in the middle of a muddy field, probably stood in some cow poo last Christmas, because we overdid it again and went to try and see everybody within a very short space of time. And my poor kind of introverted soul just went, I can't do this. Is this what you're getting at? You just
and I do feel guilty for what I'm about to say, but there was something really nice about lockdown.
You're not the first person to say
with
it. Christmas.
I can say this, I think, because I don't imagine that any of my family will listen to this podcast. I hate the obligation, basically, that I have to see people that actually, yes, they're my family, but I don't want to spend time with you. I want to spend time with other people. I would much prefer to spend time, as I say, you can't choose your family, but you can choose your friends. And so it's the obligation to sit with people that I actually don't like. And so in lockdown, it was so fantastic to say,
you didn't need any excuse.
I didn't need an excuse.
Couldn't go anywhere.
No, I'm so sorry that we can't come and see you.
I think a lot of people
really
secretly
liberating, and I am guilty. I do feel guilty for saying that, but I think that, I think there's. I imagine that a lot of us within the creative industries as well, we sort of express ourselves in through our work as well, and I think that I've gone off on a tangent.
You have gone off on a tangent.
You have to cut that out. You have to cut that one out.
No, I think it's great. I think Christmas is one of those times of year where it means different things to different people, good or bad. It's not perfect. It's not black and white. I think for me, I like the sentiment of, the fact that we can just, it's the only time of year that as creatives, I find you can just relax and everybody just puts their tools down and just has a moment of reflection. So that's what Christmas means to me. Yeah. Just peace and quiet. Once you've done all the, running around and the obligation, the duty, shown your face, that kind of thing.
Yeah. I think it's why one of the reasons I really liked, actually, I say that I didn't like it, but when I worked for Show Studio and Nick Knight, I didn't really get that much time off over Christmas. And, because we'd be shooting campaigns for, summer. over Christmas. So, it was quite, and I think, to be honest, that's why I'm probably a bit of a workaholic over those sort of Christmas periods, because it's a great excuse to say, oh, I'm really sorry, I'm too busy working. I can't come and sit and pretend that I want to make small talk with you for the time it takes for me to eat a turkey. So, yeah.
that lovely Christmas dinner. Oh. And have you any New Year's resolutions, or are you complete free spirit in that you just do not sort of put those kind of pressures on yourself?
I think I wouldn't say it's putting pressure on myself, but I definitely like to sort of think all the time, like, right, how can I do something better? And I think for next year anyway, it's definitely going to be about how can we really make this accessible design something really great, and not something that is kind of seen as a necessary. And a lot of businesses have like this compliance focus on it, and it feels kind of very, very dry and quite dull and not exciting. And I really do think that, especially post-COVID, our whole world was disrupted and everything's up for grabs. We can really rethink how we're doing things. And I love the idea that going into 2023 onwards, I'm really going to be making a conscious effort with all the work that I do to make it accessible. And I'm going to caveat in here and say, I will get it wrong. I will inevitably get it wrong, because it's difficult. But I think giving everybody permission to make mistakes, and, as long as the intent is good and we're trying our very best, that's all we can ask for. And I said to the students in the talk that I just did then, all we can ever ask is for people to leave our industry in a better state than what they found it. That's all we can ask.
And with that lovely thing to strive for all of us, dare I say it, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, Katie, and I hope you have lots of mince pies.
Oh, yes. Now you're talking.
Love a mince pie and a brandy butter.
I thought you didn't like Christmas.
Oh, you see, yeah, I'm backtracking now. It's the food, actually, it's the food. If I could sit in a room with just a select few people and eat loads of Christmas food and have lots of nice drinks. Yeah.
And then you'd be happy.
Oh, I'd be so happy.
Do you know, I've not asked anybody about food, actually. And I don't think I've asked anybody about music. Can you stand music? Do you have a favourite track? What gets you in the mood? Oh, do you have a favourite Christmas movie?
I do. I can't believe I'm going to admit this, and you're going to have it on record. It's The Holiday. I don't know what I would love Jude Law to just come and knock on the door and just,
Oh God, he's gorgeous, isn't he?
Oh my God. I don't know. There's just, and it's really cheesy, and it makes me cry. I think it's it's such a cliche, that movie, but I don't know what it is. I have to watch it at Christmas. So, I can't believe that I've just admitted that.
There's no judgment here.
Yeah.
I'm absolutely all over that. Love The Holiday. Love Jack Black.
Oh,
love Cameron Diaz.
All of them in it.
Kate Winslet.
It's all of it. It's terribly cheesy, but I love the idea of being in that. It's that little cottage. It's when she's in the little cottage and he, stumbles drunk and knocks on the door. Yeah, I'm like, God.
So basically, you just, have a fantasy about being in a cute little cottage, which isn't real, by the way. I think they built it on purpose, and then the inside is just a set, just to ruin your kind of fantasy a little bit there, because I'm evil like that sometimes. And then you're just in some cute silk white pajamas.
Yeah, basically, and some really attractive man comes and knocks on the door with perhaps some booze, Christmas booze, and
Mince pie.
and mince pies. Yeah, that's that's it. You've actually unpicked what I do love about Christmas. That would be the ideal thing, because obviously in that film, actually, they sort of leave their families and sort of, they're like, right, I don't want to see anybody. I'll just
Now we're getting into it. Now we're getting to it.
No,
Well,
you've just Thank
Zoe,
you for a psychology lesson there.
Zoe, because it's our Christmas special, I've got a very special surprise for you. Everybody, Jude Law.
Amazing.
Oh, thanks so much.
Thank you. It's been really great.
Oh, it's so lovely meeting you. We sat next to each other when this whole lovely day began, and you were so warm and kind, and I just instantly felt connected to you. So welcome, happy Christmas.
Thank you very much. Happy Christmas.
You've actually come to Design Manchester, especially from Kenya. Can you tell us a little bit about what your talk was today and how you're feeling in terms of, the theme of legacy?
My talk today was about a project called Enkangang, which means our home in Maasai. It's a project that showcases the collective wisdom and resourcefulness of the Maasai community from Twala Tenebo Women Village, where we went there with a group of other amazing creatives to document their lifestyle and to share stories from the village, and to also reimagine the kind of power we get from learning from our traditions, and through a performance art piece that explored healing, divinity, and strength in the culture.
It sounds like there's a lot that us humans can get from community. Do you feel where you come from, where you grew up, you've still got a very strong grasp of community? Because I feel sometimes here in the UK, we're kind of losing that a little bit in some sense.
So community is at the core of everything in the Maasai culture. And that's something that we really explored and emphasized in Twala Women Village, where everything was about coming together. Everything was about the stories that they share when they're together, the kind of activities they do together. And the community was not just between the people, it was also community between them and nature and the things that they live with. And through that, we were able to see how they practice a connection with permaculture, the way they live with the houses that they...
You've gotten carried away with yourself.
Yeah, so the kind of lifestyle they live was a connection between themselves and nature.
Right, okay, that's fascinating. And so you're kind of creating this project out of that.
Yes, absolutely.
It sounds like a wonderful project, and community is at its heart.
Definitely, the community is at the core of everything. And we believe that even in all African cultures, we talk about Ubuntu, which means I am because we are. It's about understanding that as an individual, whatever you do has an effect on everyone, everything around you. And what what was very clear about the Twala community is how they live together in reverence with each other, in reverence with nature. They work together. The women there bid together. It's a bonding session. How they talk, the stories they share, the dancing, it's all communal. Even the lifestyle, the community is arranged in a circle, the huts. People come together, and you'll find that actually what is bigger is the outside. The hut is small, but the outside is bigger because that's what matters. The activities you do outside, the bonding activities, more than an individual inside activities.
That's wonderful. And what have you learned about yourself from being involved in this? Like, is there anything you've kind of discovered about who you are?
I've learned that as someone from the Maasai community and as an African, there's so much that inspires creativity when we learn about our indigenous culture. This was something that has been taken away from us, through colonization, through years and years of being denied the right to be who we are. And it's only now that I am actually finding a reconnection with my traditions. And it's so important. It's so important because it makes me proud of who I am. It makes me reconnect with my ancestors, with myself. And at the same time, it really boosts my creativity and to see things from my perspective as an African. This is who we are, and this is what I have to embrace, which has, it's not something it's something that has been taken away from us for a long time. And so we are reclaiming that.
Mm-hmm. And so this next question, talking about Christmas, which is part of that kind of awful history that you sort of, allude to. It's, I suppose, something you still celebrate.
Yes,
because it's part of your, it's been something that was forced upon you. Yes.
Well, for us now, looking at it in a contemporary kind of situation, Christmas is more a time where we actually have a time to come together as a family, because the entire year we're working outside. Everyone has their own really busy schedules. And so Christmas becomes a time where we have a time to actually relax and come together, meet friends, meet family, have a good time. And so with time, that's become more of what Christmas is, really.
Yes.
An excuse to meet up
and have some
fun.
nice food and chat and have a laugh and just take a moment.
Yeah, actually in Kenya and I'd probably think most of Africa, usually when around December 15th gets there, everyone is clocked out. No more work until end of December.
Okay, I'm moving.
So it's a good time,
Yes.
You get to travel. It's really just an excuse to be together as a community and forget about work for some time.
Absolutely. That's the meaning, isn't it? It's not necessarily Christmas itself. It's this time of year. Other people call it winter solstice. There's various ways we can sort of look at it. It's really kind of when the world feels like it comes together in a sort of way. Mm-hmm. And do you have any traditions, special traditions at this time of year? Is there a particular type of food, or do you sort of exchange a particular type of gift?
So usually, as I said, it's an excuse to come together as a family. So, and of course, coming together involves a lot of food and cooking and eating and chatting and moving around. So I'd say it's not a particular kind of food. It's more just that coming together and having a good time. And for me personally, it's been a great time because my partner's birthday is on the 1st. So it's usually we've got Christmas with the family, then we got fast, which is celebrating their birthday, and it's just celebrating, really.
Yes. So it's going to be one party after the next. And so are you quite happy in other people's company? Because I get really stressed out if I don't have a little bit of time to relax in between. Well, which is showing our cultural differences.
I'm quite an introvert, actually. I love to spend time with myself, but also there's that feeling of being around people that you can't take that away. And as I said, it's a time where at least you don't worry about work for some time. So you're not running around trying to meet deadlines and things. You just relax. And the older I grow, the more I see how important that is, especially because we don't have enough time with the people that we love a lot of the times. So when there's a time to just be, it becomes very special.
Oh, I love that. And it's like a moment of reflection too, I find, with the sort of turning of, into the new year. 2023 is almost upon us. My goodness. Do you like sort of acknowledging the new year, or do you kind of hate the passing of time, the reminder that things are sort of going?
No, I love.
Oh, do you?
I love knowing that at least we've managed another year. It's exciting. It's like a fresh beginning, It's like, oh, I did this last year. No more. That wasn't me. New me.
And do you do resolutions?
Yeah, I tend to do resolutions and hope to follow at least one or two.
Oh gosh, I always break mine. I'm always saying, this is going to be the year where I make it all happen.
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to wake up at 5 every day.
5 a.m. every day. I'm going to go out for a run. I'm going
yoga. But
yoga.
I guess
Great.
With time you tick some things and not. But it's always good to have a resolution, I believe.
I think it's just nice to take stock. I mean, we're so busy, aren't we? And running around and trying to sort of constantly, move forward and achieve so much. You're right. Just this time of year is wonderful to just go, well done. Now what's next?
Yes, exactly.
Well, thank you so much for having a chat with me on this lovely day at Design Manchester. I've talked to so many different people today and it's just been wonderful. And do you have any sort of final thoughts of where you might be sort of heading next with your work?
Yeah, so my work is about exploring the indigenous culture, specifically the Maasai community in Twala for this particular project. And I find it really fascinating to learn about the culture. And also I work at Nairobi Design Week, which is a community design studio and an annual festival. So through this, I've also been exposed to learning more about indigenous culture, which is something I want to explore more this year, just getting to learn more about what were the things we were doing in the past? What are these kind of knowledge that we can use now and for the future? And also looking forward to Nairobi Design Week Festival, which is going to be happening in March.
On the 11th?
11th of March. And we're exploring the theme, It's What We Make It. So it's really going to be about bring what you have to the table. After COVID, right? Which took us back, the pandemic took us to a level of like realizing, okay, we need to really understand where we are as a human community. How can we reconnect with nature? And after the pandemic now, it's like, what can we make from it? What can we improvise? What can we use from our surroundings to be able to create a brighter future? And that's really exciting to look at. So I'm excited for that.
Really inspiring. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And Merry Christmas and happy 2023.
Happy 2023. Thank you.
Jane, it's lovely to see you.
Hello.
Hello. Merry Christmas, if I dare say that, or happy festive season.
Yes. Yay.
That lovely time of year when there's twinkly lights everywhere and it's cold and we thought we would get to wear our woolly coats, but actually we just end up wearing lots of cagoules.
Lots of rain jackets, drinking mulled wine at the Christmas markets in the rain. Yeah.
What have you been? I've not
Do
been.
you know what? I had a cheeky drink the other day. Yeah. Cheeky afternoon mulled wine.
Ooh, I'm
Should I
all
be
for
saying
this.
that? Like a cheeky midweek mulled wine at about 3:30.
Do you know what? Go for it. You only live once, and given what we've all just, gone through these last couple of years, live and let live,
Yeah, it was good.
Or live a little, as they say.
Keeps you warm, doesn't it? In the Manchester rain.
You're not a mulled cider fan then?
Oh, I do like that as well, yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, just mull anything really and I'll drink it.
Oh, it feels like obviously quite, there's a nice sort of like tying up of the years because like you were one of my first guests when I started this podcast. And gosh, that was in the old Juicy Street warehouse in that little cinema. And one of my favourite episodes, actually, because you and I, in those first episodes, I learned a lot from my guests.
Yeah.
About how to interview, what to ask. I'm still learning. I'm still, finding it such an interesting project. But you kind of were talking about back then women in print and being an illustrator and the highs and lows, how to get paid, if I remember rightly. And I just cannot get my head around that is, coming up to nearly 3 years ago, is it now?
Yeah, it's as my mum said it to me the other day that she met up with some old colleagues and they've not seen each other since before the pandemic. And she was saying they're sort of like non-years, but then they felt like very long at the same time. Everyone feels like they're picking up where they left off a little bit, but then at the same time, so much has changed since we last had our conversation there.
Yeah, there's been something going around. There's been something going around. Sorry, that's my terrible COVID joke. There's been something going. It's like now she laughs.
I was like, what? Tell me. I was on the edge of my seat. Then I was like, tell me what's been going on.
No, I was just trying to make, doing that kind of good old thing where we try and make, a joke out of something that's been awful, really. But yeah, God, you're right. The non-years. And are you doing that thing with Andy, lovely Andy, and saying, after you've seen someone you've not seen during this time and gone, oh, they've aged. The pandemic's been hard on them. That's what me and Tom do. We're like, oh, bloody hell. They're getting on a bit. I do feel like it's been a huge stress. So it's going to have had its impact.
Yeah. I'm probably one of those people, Katie. I'm probably one of the people who's aged.
No, you have not.
It's you know, like there were people who absolutely loved furlough, and well, not that I was furloughed because obviously I work for myself, but people who loved that, you know, that initial lockdown. But I mean, I went a bit stir crazy, if I'm honest. So the stress probably has aged me slightly.
You look wonderful, and I loved seeing your amazing pictures. I'm probably going a bit too personal here.
Go for it.
You just got married in San Francisco.
I did, yeah.
That was an
good.
amazing trip.
That was nice because that's the first big trip we've done since the pandemic, and it was nice. Do you know, obviously it was nice to go and get married at San Francisco City Hall, just me and my partner Andy. But it was just nice to go away for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
You know, disconnect from being in this country and everything that's going on. Because I feel like holidays are probably the one thing where I actually give myself that permission. You know, you don't have to check the news, you don't have to check your email, you're on holiday, especially if you're out there getting married, so technically you're on your honeymoon. I don't have to check any of that. And I remember saying to Andy, like, I'm like, this is joyful, isn't it? You know, this is nice because you're just waking up and all you have to think about is what you're going to do that day. And I remember thinking at the time it'd be nice to kind of bring that more into the everyday when you're actually back at home and you're working and stuff, you know, that time where you just think about what you need to do that day and try and not worry too much about everything else that's going on. Just have those moments.
We've got to do it. We've got to sort of remind ourselves next year after everything we've been through. Because as you say, you're a freelancer. You weren't on furlough. I wasn't either. You've worked. You probably worked harder than you have in your entire life because, you know, once you sort of work for yourself, you understand that you've got to make hay whilst the sun shines.
Yeah.
And with all this kind of talk of doom and gloom for the last 2 or 3 years, we've really been making hay, haven't we? We've been getting on with it.
Yeah. I think just trying to keep going, but at the same time I think like I've talked about this a little bit at the first couple of talks that I did coming out of the pandemic when we could start meeting up in real life again, but I mean, maybe this is getting a bit too deep for your podcast, Katie, but
no,
I really struggled with anxiety in lockdown, really, really bad in a way that I've never experienced before, where sort of the anxiety is so bad that it then becomes depression because you're so anxious. Oh no, it's fine. It's been an interesting learning experience. But one of the difficulties of that actually was, you know, having that idea that when you work for yourself, you do have to you do feel like you have to make hay, you know, like while the sun shines. Is that right? Did I say that?
Yeah,
right? Yeah. You know, you've got to get your head down and get on with things. You know, you're responsible for your income, etc. But when you're in that kind of state of mind, you don't actually. I wasn't feeling particularly productive, and I think when you're trapped in your house and stuff as a creative person, where are you drawing your inspiration from? Because to be honest, social media was just on fire.
It was overwhelming.
The world was on fire. So it was, you know, it was quite hard to find the joy in sort of the everyday and to try and, because that's where the creativity comes in, you know, and you know, sometimes creativity is born out of joy, sometimes it's born out of anger. But I think for me, it felt sort of having that kind of anxiety. I was struggling with being productive, and so I had to ask myself a lot of questions there around, you know, my sort of guilt at lack of being productive, which I think a lot of people have asked themselves those questions over the last couple of years. You know, how am I my output type of thing? And so, you know, it's been quite interesting learning from that and trying to carry those lessons through then now that things are going back, you know, things are back to normal, as they say, trying to not sort of lose some of those lessons and that learning that you've done during that time, because you don't want it to happen again. You know, you want to try and keep your mind healthy and keep your body healthy and things. So that's kind of what I took out of lockdown, is trying to sort of not tie in my self-worth so much with my productivity, really, because there will be times in life when you're not productive and when I'm not productive and people listening aren't being productive, and that doesn't make you any less worthy. But I do think a lot of people struggle with that as well.
Oh, I think they do, and like I think we're allowing ourselves to give ourselves a bit of a break a little bit more. We're kind of like, I mean, I remember when I started this podcast, it was like, you know, it's got to be perfect. It's got to be filmed. It's got to be recorded in person. And then, you know, everything shut down and it was like, how do I do this? How do I navigate it? It was just a breath of fresh air for all of us, because whatever we were doing before, we're now sort of, you know, I feel like many of us have a lot more kind of empathy and compassion, not just for other people, but for ourselves. I just hope we don't forget that.
Yeah, when you've been on a client call and they've got the ironing board in the background, you see the human side of your clients and they see the human side of you as well. And I think you realise, oh, look, the world didn't end because there was I had a pile of washing in the background on a client call. They still want to work with me. I think the facade was dropped a little bit, wasn't it? Because everyone was working from home. So, you know, all those sort of famous YouTube videos we've seen of like kids walking in on, you know, people who are on the news and, you know, people having their, you know, cat annoying them while they're trying to do a call, or, you know, there's been some other worse ones as well where people have forgot that their camera's going. But I think you sort of saw that we're all human beings underneath, really, and, you know, we're all capable of you know, life happens, doesn't it, to everyone?
Yeah.
And it was, I guess, we did kind of see that, didn't we, in lockdown?
It's far more interesting as well to sort of see that rather than just see the work, see the professionalism. I love to sort of do this and have these chats because I like to get to know the people that I'm, you know, whose work I admire, and not just figure out what their processes are and where they get the inspiration, but what's actually going on, where are they at? And with that kind of vein, are you kind of thinking about 2023? Have you sort of like come up with any kind of New Year's resolutions?
Oh, good question. Well, I think what did come out of lockdown was because of a slowing down due to, you know, mentally not feeling 100%. It kind of, and there were patches where work went quiet and then went really busy again. But it gave me a lot of time to kind of reflect on my practice and what I want to do. And so that's why I rebranded myself, for want of a better word, as a studio called Jane, because I realised that up until sort of 2020, everything that I'd done was very reactive. I was, you know, I was thrown into freelance because I lost a job, as I discussed last time we had a chat. And so everything that I did was very reactive to what came in, you know, and there's a time and a place for that in your career when you are just reactive to what comes in, and that's great. But I wanted to start being a bit more proactive and being a bit more sort of considered about what I was doing. So that's something that I've been working on, sort of repositioning myself as this one-woman studio, and, you know, sort of trying to think about people who I want to work with and what is it that I'm about. And it's been nice. I've sort of softly launched that at the start of this year, and then I'm starting to see the effects of that with who I'm working with now. So I'm quite excited for what's going to come next year, and I just hope I could continue to kind of make that space to grow my professional practice. But I am, I mean, it's always difficult with these things. You kind of would like to just do it all in one big go and get it all right first time. But I just think with anything, it's always about sort of learning and taking it step by step and figuring out as you go along. But I am a lot more considered and mindful of that. So I've got, you know, some interesting projects lined up for next year. And I think as well, coming out of the pandemic, it would be nice to, you know, start to look back at some of those new personal projects, you know, like Women in Print started off as a personal project, you know, exploring some of those ideas that maybe just sat on the shelf for a while because you were reacting to the client work that was coming in, and trying to do some more personal work.
Oh, it sounds wonderful. So 2023 is looking very bright for you.
Maybe, yeah. Ask me in June.
I will, because we're going to, you know, catch up with each other on a more regular basis. This is one of my New Year's resolutions. Get out more, arrange more things with people, and, you know, unhook myself away from my desk and get out. But so it's Christmas.
Yeah.
I've been asking people all sorts of questions for this podcast special, from like what it means to them this time of year, whether it's something they even enjoy. We've had some, you know,
love it.
Do you love it?
Yeah,
Are you a kind of big fan?
I'm annoying. Yeah, I'm like that person who's listening to, you know, like I've got the Christmas Prince queued up on Netflix for next weekend.
I was gonna say, are you? Because like me and my husband Tom, we like have a list of Christmas movies every year. We're like, okay, right, every night we're going to watch something in December. We say that, we end up forgetting, and then we'll probably only watch about 4 from the list. But is that something you do? Have you got all these traditions and things that you definitely do?
I love the music. I love the movies. I love the general feeling. I love this idea that everyone just sort of does this big collective sigh on the day that they kind of finish work. Do you know the magic bit of Christmas for me? It's not so much Christmas Day and all that kind of stuff. It's that bit where you're just winding down on that last day. It's that little magical bit between finishing your last day of work and Christmas Day, where you have that rest and quiet time. So Manchester is quieter, generally speaking, and you just have that, you give yourself that permission to have that space to watch those films, to eat that food, to drink that drink, and spend time doing whatever you want to do. Or that's kind of how I treat it anyway. And maybe that's because I live around here, my family are all around here, so I don't have to travel too much at Christmas.
That's nice.
So yeah, I love that kind of little quiet period, and the anticipation of what's to come is almost better than the actual day itself, if that makes sense.
It's the sentiment, isn't it? I mean, it means different things to different people. It could have a religious connotation. It could have just as, you know, the idea of, oh my goodness, everybody's stopped. I can finally relax and spend time with my family. Whatever it means, it's a lovely time of year. Weirdly, I've got it in my head that Andy might have like some kind of special Christmas onesie that he gets out and wears a Santa hat. Given that I've shared an office with him and know him quite well, I feel like that's where he goes, or am I completely off the mark?
How did you know? Have you checked his eBay orders?
No.
He it literally arrived the other day. He ordered a snowman costume.
You're joking.
No, yeah.
Are you actually making this up?
No, yeah, he did like a full snowman costume with the head. You know, it's like this. Well, you can't see what I'm doing, but it's massive, this head. But he he's got he does have a costume for Christmas Day for his nephews, not for himself, although I'm sure he'll wear it in the morning as well.
This sounds so like Andy. Well, it sounds like you've got a great holiday season coming up. So
yes, I'm looking forward to it.
Oh, well, have a wonderful rest. And,
you too, Katie.
Oh, I will. I'm really looking forward to it. And I think the first Christmas movie I'm going to watch is going to be, I don't know, I feel like a Mary Poppins this year.
Oh, yeah. I always think
field.
of that as a Christmas film, even though it's not, but it is, isn't it?
Well, I'm a bit older than you. These are the kind of films that they put on at bank holidays and at Christmas, you know, in the Radio Times. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
I don't even know if you remember that. We used to get the Radio Times.
I do, of course I do.
Circle all the movies. Oh, Mary
I'm not
Poppins.
that young anymore. I remember Radio Times. The Radio
Boxing
Times.
Day at 3 p.m. We'll all watch that.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Mine is Christmas Vacation, National Lampoon's
I
Christmas
was going to
Vacation.
say that, but I didn't know whether it was, I don't know whether it was like, you know, inappropriate given it's a little of its time. But
It is very much of its time, but I guess it's just one that I remember, you know, like my family loving. It's the theme tune at the beginning.
It's brilliant.
Just the chaos of it. It's
Merry Christmas.
It's just fantastic. So that one, and then obviously everybody loves It's a Wonderful Life, don't they? Everyone watches that one, surely?
Yes,
Yeah,
and I
that's
always
good.
cry.
I know. It's a great one. That's a great Christmas Eve film.
We can't ruin the ending, just in case people haven't watched it.
Oh, if you haven't watched it, do watch it.
So you married Chevy Chase then, pretty much.
Oh my God.
Now it's all
I'm
making
not going to be able
sense.
to look him in the eye now when I go home.
Oh, Merry Christmas, Jane.
Oh, Merry Christmas, Katie.
And Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you too. Hopefully we'll spend a lot more time together in the new year.
Oh, we will. I hope I'll see you more often than my brother and sister-in-law.
Oh, I see them every week on
I
the
know,
dog park.
they say. I saw Jane and Andy again the other day. It's like, oh, for God's sake.
I'm trying to make them get a dog every time they bring it up. I'm like, just do it, get a dog.
Good luck with
Be
that.
part of the park crew.
They'd love that.
Oh, thank you, Katie.
Thanks, Jane. Ian, it's lovely to see you.
Likewise.
It's been a while. I think the last time I saw you was in McDonald's at 1 a.m. on Oxford Road in Manchester. Am I allowed to say that?
Yeah, you won't be surprised to hear that I don't remember that. I remember doing the podcast.
That was a while ago.
But I think one of the speakers sort of said, "Oh, you know, everything's pre-COVID," and it's just like it is. You know, it doesn't seem that long ago because of what's happened in between. You know.
Yeah, it's somebody today called it the non-years.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah,
I
quite
might use
depressing as well, though, because it's just been this time it's almost like it's just been cut out and disappeared, and we've all just kind of pretended it's not happened, and we're just muddling along.
Well, I quite like it. I mean, I really like lockdown. You know, it was just because it changed the pace of life and everything was quiet, you know, and it was good. You know, I really enjoyed walking around Sheffield with my youngest boy, who just basically talks non-stop about either Marvel, DC, or Minecraft. You know, and we do a walk every day, and it was great being able to walk down some of the main roads in Sheffield, just like in the middle of the road because there was no traffic. Yeah, I think it was really good, and it was kind of quite a good time. Not so much to relax, but you know, just to sort of. I always have this thing where I really like the idea of just being able to take a break out of life. But of course, you never can, because if you take a break on holiday, you end up, you know, having to kind of either do your work before you go or catch up when you get back. But, you know, there was, to a degree, there wasn't so much work, and it was just really like having a holiday from everything. I mean, obviously, there's lots of downsides to it. Like, you know, obviously people dying, and I'm not making light of that, but
Of course not.
But you know, but for me personally, it was good. I mean, it also had downsides in terms of work, etc. But you know,
You take the silver linings.
yeah, you do. You take the silver linings. Quite right.
Can you take your coat off? You're like a ruffling.
There we go.
God, I mean, can't take you anywhere.
I know. Yeah, now I am.
That's better. Now you can wave your arms around as much as you like. Merry
Now I am.
Christmas, by
And
the
for
way.
the people listening, I'm now completely naked.
Oh my God, that's really inappropriate. I've already told Anthony Burrill earlier that he was like a classic chair design that everybody wants to sit on.
Yeah.
It was innocently said.
I'd never seen him in that light before. And
I think it's one of these things when you're thrown into something like this, you haven't got time to just take a moment. And this is what we're doing at the moment with Design Manchester. We are taking a moment. It's all about legacy today, the theme of looking back so we can look ahead. And, you know, what better time to do it than now as we're sort of approaching Christmas. And in that sense, what are you looking back on, and how are you feeling about what's happening next?
I'm not sure. I mean, I think, so Designers Republic is like 36 years old, you know, and there's a lot of work that we've done that I'm really proud of. There's a big resurgence, the whole Y2K thing, where people are kind of looking back at sort of some of the landmark work that we did, like Wipeout and all those other sort of future kind of graphics, you know, when the future was still relatively optimistic. Or we perceived the future as primarily utopian, or at least exciting. Whereas I think now, not just because of COVID, but just looking around in the world and all the stuff that's going on, it's difficult for people to really see any utopian future, which I guess is one of the reasons why, you know, people are rewinding, or in the case of like sort of younger students, you know, kind of looking back or investigating the past as a touchstone for something that was like more optimistic. So for me, the legacy thing is partly that, because it's kind of been sort of thrust on me. You know, that I've been asked to curate a sort of a turn of the century design exhibition in Milan for next year. You know, and there's lots of things like that. So that whether I'm the kind of person that generally looks forward, but it's also, I think, the case is, you know, that as one gets older, both personally and the age of Designers Republic or whatever, that there's a huge volume of work that is still kind of relevant, and it's a sort of a fertile playground or area of inspiration sort of moving forward. So I like the fact that I've got a body of work that I can draw on to move forward, rather than, I guess, you know, for students, they look at other designers, whereas actually we've got enough design. You know, I mean, I mentioned in the talk, you know, when we did the book, AZTDR, you know, I mean, like, kind of looking back, I realised that we'd done over 5,000 record covers.
Good grief.
Do you know what I mean? And then it's a little bit like, you can't help but look back. But then I also think, you know, from the past comes the future. you know, and all those other cliches like, you know, those who don't remember the past are condemned to repeat it, etc. So there is a sense that the legacy of what we've done, you know, in that time is very relevant to what I'm doing in the future, partly because the reality is there's now less future probably than past, you know, so...
Getting on a bit, aren't you?
Yeah, feeling it.
Oh, you and me both. And obviously this time of year, is it something that you enjoy? Do you embrace Christmas, or are you a bit of a bar humbug?
I don't think I'm a bar humbug. I mean, I like the fact that lots of people really enjoy it. I've got a low attention, sort of low boredom threshold. And because, you know, I mean, Christmas has started already, and so by the time it gets to be Christmas, I'm really sick of it.
Yeah.
So in my ideal world, Christmas would start on December 16th, and you could go on full tilt, you know, till Boxing Day, a bit of a breather, then you've got New Year, and then basically by the time after New Year, I'm really, really kind of keen to get back to work and that. So, you know, so in that sense, I'm not really a Christmas person. My wife and my daughter start watching Christmas movies on TV sort of now, you know, and they love it. And, you know, and they're really kind of good at decorating the tree and making our house look really nice. And I benefit from that. But if it was just me, I probably wouldn't bother so much,
Yeah.
you know.
It's about coming together, isn't it, with family and friends, and a time to sort of just chill. I think that's what I see it as.
The thing I like the most is cooking Christmas dinner.
Oh, you cook?
I like cooking. So, I mean, I cook Christmas dinner, and sometimes we have friends round, and, you know, and it's... I think that's it. And then after Christmas dinner, it's a bit like, oh, right now. You know, and then there's, if the weather's good, you know, there's all the little family traditions like going on the Christmas or Boxing Day walk, you know, and things like that. So, I mean, I do enjoy it, but I don't enjoy the stress of, you know, what to buy people and all that sort of thing. And it's all a bit consumery, you know, and...
So what have you asked Santa for this year, Ian?
A pony.
A pony?
I don't know. I mean,
what do we get?
Anything.
I know. This is what everyone's saying. What do you want?
Socks.
Socks.
That's what I get. I'm at an age now where I get socks or cookery books.
Have you got any tips on how to cook? Are you vegetarian or meat eater?
No, my eldest son's vegetarian, so, you know, and so I do, you know, like, I don't like turkey, so I get like big chicken, and, you know, he gets like I make a nut roast, and then...
Nice.
I always say I'm going to do it simpler, but I just end up doing like everything, you know, but it's that thing as well. Like, I can remember when my mum used to cook Christmas dinner, and then she'd say by the time she cooked it, she didn't really want to eat it. So I'm a bit like that, you know, I make all this effort, you know, and then I just kind of, you know, I mean, the main thing is like the little bits like, or just making the gravy, you know, if you get a good gravy, it doesn't matter what else you do.
Yeah.
You know.
Doesn't matter if the peas and carrots have gone cold or...
they always have done.
Yeah.
They always have done. I mean, I am a good cook, but it's a very different thing getting like 8 or 9 different dishes ready, you know.
For so many people.
Yeah. Yeah. Most of whom just don't, you know, have eaten that many sweets or whatever in the morning that they're not particularly interested. But anyway, people sort of, you know, go through the motions. Well, basically, I could quite easily just do roast potatoes for my family.
Yeah, and they'd be quite happy.
Yeah, loads of roast potatoes with a nice kind of like, you know, onion gravy, and the rest of it's, you know, no one cares. God, I'm sounding really miserable. I know I do like Christmas. I try and sort of get in the spirit of it, but I think, you know, there is that thing. When my kids were little, it was kind of exciting.
Magical, I expect.
Yeah, magical. And now it's a little bit like, you know, so my daughter's like, let's get the Christmas dinner done. Then I'll go back up to my room and get on TikTok or with all her mates. And you know, my youngest son's, you know, sort of, I think he'd rather sort of, well, I know he'd rather kind of be playing Minecraft. So, you know, so there's all these things like, but anyway.
Well, you know what? It's a wonderful time of year to be with family, no matter how much they drive us crazy. Or
What are you doing for Christmas?
Well, we're hosting for the first time ever this year. For the first time ever, I've gotten away with it. I'm 44 years old and I've never hosted Christmas. So I might come to you for some you know, cooking tips.
I can give you a how-to. It's all in the preparation. It's all getting the stuff ready, you know, maybe the night before or getting up early or whatever.
All right, Nigella. Oh, Merry Christmas, Ian, and thank you so much. And I'm wishing you all the success and happiness for next year.
Thank you, and you.
Merry Christmas. Thank you for joining us on this special edition podcast.
It's a great privilege to be here and to be a part of this wonderful creative institution.
You are so lovely, and you're involved in Posters, the Original Social Media, which is an exhibition that you are very much passionate about and involved in. Can you tell us a little bit more about it? Because, I mean, it's so fitting for the theme of legacy that we're talking about today, because this is, 100 years of graphic design?
Yes, virtually. The posters date from 1905 to 1999.
Wow.
So an awful lot has happened in the world of print and design and the methodology and the use of posters over those years. So it's, from that point of view, it's very interesting technically. It's very interesting also geographically, because the posters go from Uruguay in the south to Sweden in the north, to Ireland in the west, and Japan in the east, and a lot of stops in between.
It sounds fascinating. Is it very much close to your heart?
Well, people talk about the collection. I say it's an accumulation, because I've been very fortunate. I was the Secretary General of the International Council of Graphic Design Associations for a period, and kind people wished posters upon me or presented me with them, or I acquired them or collected them. And they were all sitting in my attic. And I had very good friends in the Arts University in Bournemouth, which has a wonderful gallery and a great history of exhibitions since it started. It's not quite as old as the Manchester School of Art, but it's almost. It's that era of the great art schools which were developed in this country. And I showed some of the posters to them, and out of this came the collection of the selection. There's about another, at least twice as much at home still than is shown here in the exhibition. So they realized it, and I worked with, as is the custom in the Arts University, with one of the academics. So I was teamed with Hannah Biles, who's a senior lecturer in the Graphics and Communications School, and we chose the posters largely because they would exemplify different types of typography, different prints, different languages. I mean, the posters, some of my favorites are the ones where, say, for Madame Butterfly, the opera. It's Italian music.
Yeah,
it's a story about Japan. And this poster was created in Czechoslovakia. And the language on the poster is Czech. So to appeal to people, that instant image is so strong of the obi and the sword that it almost tells you the story without a language. So the best posters don't need a language.
That's wonderful. It must have been such a fascinating process to go through to curate the collection.
Well, it was. I hadn't seen some of them for years. So they brought back many memories, and they're extremely colourful. And many of the people that I had worked with or known, they gave me the poster. So it was full of memories. I mean, it is a legacy of many sorts, both in the technical and in the beauty and the imagination of designers all over the world, but also of personal contacts with, that I've been very fortunate to meet, wonderful graphic designers.
Oh, it's so fantastic. And was it difficult to narrow down the selection? Of course it must have been.
Yes, and that's where I think the academic balance came into it, because they said we must try and get a selection of the different types of faces, the different methods of printing, from the old-fashioned screen printing to modern digital printing, to shapes and sizes. And I was very keen to get a geographic spread into it as well. And there's one image there of that I think everybody that walks through the exhibition will recognise, but it's Alan Fletcher's, the great London graphic designer, imposed the image of Margaret Calvert's road sign of danger, men at work. And he uses the quote, I enjoy work, I can sit and look at it all day. But the image there is the one you see on too many roads these days with danger, men at work. But that image dates from 1960s, when the motorways were built and the road and the signs and the topography were there. And it's still as strong as ever today. Wonderful. So good graphic design and good design lasts.
Do you feel, are you excited about the future where graphic design is heading, with all this new technology that's coming through? Or do you think we're losing something?
I think, people nowadays see most of their information and most of their images on small screens, digital, virtual ones. I think, and it was very interesting looking at some of the presentations in the conference which was attached to the exhibition, or the exhibition attached to the conference, where people were going back to using old topography to try and get striking images so that they would be different to what young people or all of us see on our small screens.
Yeah, it's
so I think there is a future built on the legacy of the past.
I love that. That's wonderful. And because this is Christmas and a special sort of episode for Creative Boom, I've been asking all our guests today what they like to do at this time of year, what it means to them, this festive holiday, this season.
Gosh, I think the most important thing in the world is people. And I think what I'd love to see more than anything else is children and young people making their own decorations, making their own cards, reusing material rather than going out and buying things. And if we could encourage that sort of creativity with very young people, young children, I think that then the future is bright for design.
It really is. Well, thank you so much, Mary, for coming and chatting with us, and wish you and your family a very Merry Christmas and a happy...
And the same to you, indeed. Have a good time.
If you'd like to learn more about our Christmas special, head to our show notes at creativeboom.com/podcast. That's where you can also hit subscribe and listen to any episode from our growing archive so far. Special thanks to Fiona, John, Malcolm, Charlotte, and the entire team at Design Manchester and the Manchester School of Art for making this episode possible. And thanks to all our wonderful featured guests. That's it for season 5. We're now going to take a short break, but we will be back in 2023 with lots of new guests and covering many different themes, topics important to you as a creative professional. Until then, from myself and everyone at Creative Boom, we wish you a very Merry Christmas and a prosperous and peaceful New Year.